right, we are on the record for hearings and the matters listed in the North Dakota Industrial Commission hearing docket for April 23rd, 2026. My name is Matthew Sagsby, and I'm the hearing examiner for these hearings, and we are at the hearing room for the Department of Mineral Resources, Oil and Gas Division, and it is 9 a.m. So on the docket, the following matters will be continued or dismissed. Case number 32772 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32335 is dismissed. Case number 32170 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32776 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32777 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32408 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32778 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32588 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32780 is dismissed. Case number 32784 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32785 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32786 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32586 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32787 is dismissed. Case number 32790 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32332 is dismissed. Case number 32403 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32791 is dismissed. Case number 32792 is continued to the May docket. On the administrative docket, case number 32805 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32806 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32358 is dismissed. Case number 32359 is dismissed. Case number 32360 is dismissed. Case number 32361 is dismissed. Case number 32362 is dismissed. Case number 32363 is dismissed. Case number 32177 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32178 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32807 is continued to the May docket. On the supplemental docket, case number 32611 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32612 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32700 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32701 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32702 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32514 is continued to the May docket. Case number 32728 is continued to the May docket. Case number 3274 is continued to the May docket. And lastly, case number 32626 on the admin docket, supplemental admin docket, is continued to the May docket. So, have all that straight. The administrative docket today starts on page 8 with case number 32793 and goes through case number 32816. These cases will be heard in the next room with Michael Zisch. Audio recordings of cases on the administrative docket will be placed on the oil and gas website by the end of the week. If you wish to appear in one of the matters on the administrative docket, please appear in the next room. If there is opposition to the matter, it will be brought back into this hearing room to be heard, and your statements and evidence will be taken. So today on the docket, we're going to go in exact order. We're going to move around a little bit and start with case number 32783, which is on page 5 of the docket. This is an application of Phoenix Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Granora Bakken pool to establish a stand-up 5120 acre spacing unit comprising sections 2, 3, 10, 11, 14, 15, 22, and 23 in Township 159 North, Range 103 West in Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize up to 10 horizontal wells to be drilled in such unit and or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. So, Mr. Throne, your counsel for case number 32793.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Tom Throne, P.O. Box 1056 in Sheridan, Wyoming. I will be appearing on behalf of Phoenix in case number 32783 and 32404 Aaron Bieber will be appearing for Phoenix in 32773 as a lawyer. All three cases will have the same three witnesses. Our land witness will be Justin Arn, A-R-N. Our geology witness will be Jacob Smith. And our engineering witness in all three cases will be Eric Shibby.
Okay, Mr. Throne, you may call your first witness.
Okay, Mr. Arn, would you please state your name and address for the record?
Certainly. My name is Justin Arn. My address is 4643 South Ulster Street, Suite 1510, Denver, Colorado, 80237.
And for whom do you work for and in what capacity?
I work for Phoenix Energy in the capacity of Chief Land and Title Officer.
So, Mr. Counsel, before we continue, I just want to swear the witness.
Oh, okay.
Sir, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
All right.
My bad, sorry.
It's all right.
And have you been accepted as an expert witness in petroleum land matters before by this commission?
I have.
I would ask that Mr. Arn be accepted as an expert witness.
Your motion's granted.
Did you prepare or cause someone to prepare exhibits for this hearing?
I did.
Okay, starting with Exhibit L1, would you please describe the lands that are subject to this particular application?
Absolutely. Exhibit L1 is our regional map identifying sections 2, 3, 10, 11, 14, 15, 22, and 23 of Township 159 North, Range 103 West, located in Williams County, North Dakota.
Okay, moving on to Exhibit L2, would you please explain the contents of that map, including the different lands described and colored differently?
Absolutely. L2 shows Phoenix's proposed plan map, which includes other operators' proposed spacing and units in this area. You can see that sections 2, 3, 10, 11, 14, 15, 22, and 23, which are the subject of this application, are there in gold. And then we went ahead and identified the other spacing units which surround this area, at least to the east and the west, being all 25, for the most part, 2560 stand-ups, which were spaced by CODA, I want to say maybe about a year ago.
Okay, moving on to Exhibit L3, discuss the contents of that exhibit.
Certainly. The L3 unit composition simply identifies fee, state, and any federal interest in the proposed 5,120 acre spacing unit. You will notice that there is an unleased BIA tract located there in section 14. Phoenix has been actively attempting to lease that tract, and I believe has over 80% of the allottees that have consented to have their minerals leased through the BIA. We're actively working with the BIA. I think our current timeline with them is to have a lease in place on those unleased interests by the timeline moves a little bit, but we are thinking right now the end of May of 2026. Other than that, we don't show any federal or state leases in this proposed unit.
And does Phoenix plan on continuing to pursue acquiring the leasehold in the unleased portion?
Yes, we do.
Okay, moving on to Exhibit L4A, would you please describe the contents of that exhibit and explain the working interest ownership?
Certainly. So L4A shows the total composition of working interest throughout the 5,120 acre spacing unit. And, I think I didn't do quite a good job on Exhibit L2. So I just want to go back to it for 1 second, if you guys wouldn't mind. Phoenix is proposing this 5,120 acre spacing unit, which is essentially comprised of 2 stand-up 2560 acre spacing units, which have already again been spaced by CODA. And again, that docket was maybe a year ago. And I think when we get to the engineering testimony, I think we'll present a compelling case for why that should happen. But in presenting this case to the board, what we wanted to do was at least provide the board with explanations with regards to the working interest as to the entire 5,120 acre spacing unit and as to each 2560 that we're intending to pool here. So with that in mind, as we go back to Exhibit L4, we see that the working interest summary for the entire 5,120 acre spacing unit is in this L4A. And you can see that Phoenix currently has 54.26% of the proposed spacing unit in terms of the working interest. I will note that there is a 30% that's still owned by Coda Resources. Phoenix has an executed agreement with Coda to purchase that working interest, and we expect that to be transferred into Phoenix's name, I suspect, within the next 10 to 15 days. It's just not reflected here on this particular exhibit, but I wanted you guys to know that. Go ahead.
Go on, move on to Exhibit L4B.
Exhibit L4B shows the working interest in the western portion. So this is the western 2560, comprising sections 3, 10, 15, and 22. And again, we wanted to break this out so you guys could see that our ownership extends across the entire unit that we're attempting to space here. Again, Phoenix with 58.63% of the working interest. And again, with that executed agreement with Coda, which we expect to close hence forthwith.
And do the same for Exhibit L4C.
And again, L4C, this is the Eastern 2560, 2, 11, 14, and 23. Phoenix with 49.91% of the working interest. And again, we expect to purchase that 37.70% currently owned by Coda very shortly.
And if the staff approves this application, would Phoenix cooperate with the other working interest owners that you have listed on these exhibits?
Oh, 100%.
And would you want the staff to vacate the existing spacing units that you've described on the two exhibits L4B and C, if they approve this larger drilling and spacing unit?
We would want them to vacate that prior order. Our intention, as we're going to hear, and I think in the engineering testimony, is to fully drill this, and there would be, I think, no need for those 2560s to stand alone once this order was hopefully granted.
I have no further questions for Mr. Arnn and ask that the land exhibits be accepted. One last question, however. Moving on to Exhibit 4A, E4A, which is the gas capture affidavit. Did you cause that affidavit to be executed by Mr. Crook?
I did indeed cause that to be executed.
Okay. Now, Mr. Chairman, I'd like the land exhibits plus Exhibit E4A to be admitted into the record.
Well, I'll admit the exhibits and the affidavit. Do staff have any questions?
I think just a point of clarification, Justin, you requested that the commission terminate or vacate the previous order. There were other spacings in that order also. The order would not be vacated.
Yes, sir, I misspoke. Sorry.
Any additional questions? Hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Arnn. You may call your next witness.
Yes, I would call Mr. Jacob Smith, a geologic witness.
All right, Mr. Smith, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
All right, you may proceed.
Okay, Mr. Smith, would you please state your name and address for the record?
Yep. Jacob Smith, 4643 South Bolster Street, Suite 1510, Denver, Colorado, 80237.
And for whom do you work and in what capacity?
Phoenix Energy as a geologist.
And have you previously been accepted as an expert witness in petroleum geology?
I have.
And are you personally familiar with the lands that are subject to this application?
Yes, sir.
I would ask that Mr. Smith be accepted as an expert witness in petroleum geology.
Your motion's granted.
Did you prepare or cause to be prepared certain exhibits for this hearing?
Yes, sir.
Starting with Exhibit G1, would you please describe the structure map for the Upper Bakken Shale?
Exhibit G1 is a geologic structure map on the Upper Bakken Shale in subsea TVD, the contour interval of 20 feet, showing formation dipping to the southeast. The red rectangle is our proposed 5120 acre spacing unit, and there's a gold A to A prime cross-section line that denotes the location of the two wells in the next exhibit.
Okay, moving to the next exhibit, please describe the contents of the stretch cross-section as well as the type log and the reservoir properties that are at the bottom of that exhibit.
Yes, sir. So the well A and A prime is our type log, the Fisher 34-18. They're both flattened on top of the Upper Bakken Shale, and our target, which is the Middle Bakken, present and continuous throughout the region. And the reservoir properties at the bottom of this exhibit for the Fisher 34-18 show the properties that were used in the economic and volumetric calculations for the engineering exhibits.
Okay, and if this application is approved from a geologic standpoint, will waste be prevented, quality right protected, and the drilling of unnecessary wells prevented?
Yes, sir.
I would ask that Exhibit G1 and G2 be admitted into the record and tender Mr. Smith for questions from the staff.
Exhibits are admitted. Staff have any questions? Hearing none. Counsel, you can call your next witness.
I call Mr. Eric Shivy, engineering witness.
Mr. Shivy, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Okay.
Okay, Eric, would you please state your name and address for the record, and since this is a separate record, spell your last name?
Oh, sure. Eric Shivey, Shivey. My business address is 4643 South Ulster Street, Suite 1510, Denver, Colorado 80237. I work for Phoenix Energy as the Vice President of Reservoir Engineering and Corporate Reserves.
And for whom do you work and in what capacity?
Yep, Phoenix Energy. And I just said that, Tom. I'm sorry. Vice President of Reservoir Engineering and Corporate Reserves.
That's right, you did. I missed that.
No.
Have you been accepted as an expert witness in petroleum engineering for this staff?
Yes, I have.
And are you personally familiar with the lands that are subject to this application?
I
I would ask that he be accepted as an expert witness in petroleum engineering.
Your motion is granted.
Eric, starting with Exhibit E1, please describe the wellbore diagram that Phoenix will be using.
Sure. On E1, there's a standard 3-string casing design we use in the Williston Basin. As these are planned as 4-mile laterals, the 4.5-inch liner would be cemented in place and completed via plug and perf, approximately 105 frac stages per well.
Before we start with Exhibit 2, would you briefly explain what Phoenix Operating is hoping to do in its development plan for this proposed 5120 acre spacing unit?
Sure. I don't want to be too lengthy here, but we're treating this as an optimization project. These 4-mile laterals are becoming more, I wouldn't say prevalent, but they're becoming more common in the basin. What we're proposing is this. Initially, these were set up as 225/60s, and we actually have 10 permits for these wells already applied for with the NDIC. We're planning to drill all 10 north to south. Now what we're thinking is this is virgin rock, no Bakken or Three Forks. There's been, I think, a total of 4 Madison wells drilled in these 8 sections. Now what we are proposing is, we're calling it interfingering or interlocking the Bakken. It's a nice play on words, where we're going to be drilling wells in between one another. So, if you have a heel-to-toe well, you'll be offset with toe-to-heel. So the idea is, and I'll try to keep this brief, 3 points. Really, with the fracs, we would simultaneously be fracking from the south pad and the north pad. So really try to get some more SRV, stimulated rock volume. We would be incorporating tracers in some of our frac stages to see, with production, if there's, communication between the wells. Number 2, and I think this is really important, Jacob mentioned the structure map on G1. There's approximately 250 feet of throw in these 4 units, across these 4 units. So is there, an advantage to drilling toe up where you're creating a natural sump? Or, do you see any discernible difference when you drill toe down, where you'd be, pulling up fluid? So that's the other thing. And then number 3 kind of comes to long-term production. Since we are planning, the western well on the corny pad on E2, you'll see that is thrown out about a mount. So that's going to require about a 35-degree tangent. Are you going to see any discernible difference long-term on production with that large of tangent compared to the other wells in the unit? So I'm a little long-winded there, Tom, but that was like the idea. We're really trying to see as we drill more and more 4-mile laterals, does the orientation, everything, is that really an important thing to consider or not?
Now, using Exhibit E2, please describe for the staff how Phoenix intends to execute its plan to meet those objectives you just described.
Sure, yeah. In order to do this plan, of course, we need to combine everything into the 5120 unit, because you'll see I denote the corny pad to the northeast of the northwest of Section 2. Incidentally, we've already started construction on that pad. And then the Patterson pad is kind of down in Section 22. So we'd be drilling with 2 rigs pretty much simultaneously. They'd be moving in Q4 this year. We'd start drilling from the corny pad to the south and start drilling from the Peterson pad to the north. And then once we've drilled all those wells, we'd be moving in, I think I said 2 separate frac crews, and begin simultaneous frac operations from both pads. That's really all I was going to say. We denote too, there's going to be about 540 east-west setbacks, and that leaves approximately 1,053 feet well spacing between the well bores.
Okay, moving on to Exhibit E3. Please describe the anticipated economics based on the parameters that Mr. Smith presented.
Sure. The reserve table up top, the first 4 lines kind of describe our ARPS equation for the anticipated type curve for the wells. We're estimating about 720,000 barrels of oil per well, and that yields a DSU recovery factor, all 10 wells of about 15.4%. Gas oil ratio is about 1,200 SCF per barrel noted in this area. And the gross economics below, I've run at $70 flat WTI and a $3.50 flat Henry Hub gas price. D&C cost is approximately $11.76 million per well. That yields a PV10 of $7.1 million per well on an 8/8 basis. That's 100% working interest and 80% NRI. And that yields an internal rate of return of approximately 40%.
And I would assume that after you gather information from drilling the wells on this pad, that you will analyze the economics from toe up versus the toe down wells.
Correct, yeah. So really looking at the cumulative production, say 6 months, one year, 2 years, kind of see how things, compare.
Okay, I have no further questions for Mr. Shivy, and ask that exhibits E1, E2, and E3 be admitted into the record.
Exhibits are accepted into the record. Staff have any questions?
Eric, you mentioned something about the difference in the elevation from the one end of the spacer, one side of the spacing to the other, drilling uphill versus downhill.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't that been studied in the basin before?
It has, Mr. Boyer. We are looking at this just because of these are 4-mile laterals now. We just really want to understand, that's much longer than any 2 or 3 mile laterals. But I totally agree. I think it was even involved in some of those studies at some other operators. But being that, these are longer laterals, we really want to look at that some more.
And so what were the findings in the previous studies?
The previous studies is typically, in most of the places I had looked at, not basin-wide, it really didn't make a difference, is what I had noticed. But again, I was working a very small subset of wells with previous operators.
And you mentioned something about the tangents. Could you Could you go through that again?
Yes. So let's look at E2, for example. The corny pad, the blue pad, those are all the blue lines. You'll see that furthest west corny well in 310, 15, and 22, that would be a step out of approximately 5,000 feet. We would be looking at no more than a 35-degree tangent to get out to that kickoff point.
And so, what are you trying to learn something if you can drill it, or what?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. We have run, our engineers have performed, torque and drag calculations for that. We're confident we can drill the well. What we're looking to study is if long-term production, the large tangent impacts, production, because especially as it goes on rods, that's large tangent for a rod string to be moving up and down. But again, we don't have concerns on that necessarily. We're just going to see if that large of a step out is detrimental to other wells where there isn't as much of a step out. Yeah, because these are 4-mile laterals.
So, what if there is a detriment to production?
Well, that would mean reevaluating and looking maybe with 4-mile laterals. You can't do, if it really hurts production, you don't want to be doing those large of a step out. Again, I don't think that's the conclusion we're going to find, but we want to definitely test this idea as 4-mile laterals become more prevalent in the basin.
So, to my knowledge, the commission has never approved a unit this large for this type of drilling. So let's assume that the furthest corny well has a significant impact to production long term. How is that? Why should the owners in 2 and 11 be sharing their oil with a well in 3 and 10 that's a bad well?
Yeah, I guess flip that, and you could say that with like the Peterson well in 211-14. I see your point, but I think it just comes down to the economics too. That you can be developing all this with a single pad occupancy, or 2 pads in this case, rather than really splitting all that up.
So I mean, would you agree that from the well perspective, it's agnostic as to what the spacing unit is? The well is the well.
Correct.
So why couldn't you do this on the stand-up 2560s?
You split that as it is originally set up. You're proposing that is an option. I see your point, but again, we're looking at this as kind of an optimization project, as I said, to see really if the most important thing is the lateral, if it's toe up or toe down. That's really what we're trying to ascertain in these longer laterals.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Eric, those middle 2 wells, I guess the Peterson, the middle 2 wells,
Yeah,
right down the lease line. How far from the lease line are those 2 wells?
Oh, I see, like that section line between, call it 2, 3. Yeah, those would still be, they're 1053 apart in the middle, so they're about, what would that be, like 525 feet? What's the math there? I don't think they're within the lease line corridor, is what you're getting at. I know,
Right.
I checked that.
I did the math. If they're
5280, if they're
5280.
528 feet
520
off.
feet. Okay. Can you run me through the frac order? You said you were going to put 2 frac crews on here, and then I'd like to hear your thoughts on how that stress shadowing impacts production or is expected to impact production, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah, we think so you start with the corners, you're fracking the toes of those wells, and by the time you get to the Peterson hills, you should still have pressures, on the toes from the cornering. So it's like you were saying, create like a pressure or a frac shadow. So with that extra pressure there, we're hoping to really, provide near well bore fracturing with the hills on those wells. So it's like you're kind of setting up pressure barriers as you're working down the well bores.
They're creating additional fractures that may not otherwise be
Correct,
created.
because you're kind of keeping everything pressured up.
And then, and so would you plan to zipper frac all 5 wells on each pad.
Right. So we just wouldn't be, we'd be moving like each pad, doing all 5 wells off each pad, fracking one, setting, bridge plug and perfing on another one, correct, moving down.
So that type of a technique is meant to optimize production.
Yes. And savings too, time wise,
Mm-hmm.
because you're constantly pumping.
If you is that able to be done on 2560s or not, considering the way that you want to drill these? I'm trying to think through that. You guys, because you'd want toe up and toe down wells to be coming together, and so it wouldn't. Is that right?
It wouldn't.
If you were to develop this on 2560s,
Oh,
you wouldn't be. Is it fair to say that you can't hydraulically fracture these wells the way that you have them thought through right now?
right now, right. But what we're trying to do is that the interfingering with the toe and the heels of the alternate, north south and south north orientations. You wouldn't do that in 2560. You wouldn't be able to put the wells, in the adjacent 2560. They'd all have to be in the same one.
Okay. Do you have? It looks like there's some wells just to the north of this, and they would have a similar dip in the basin. Have you guys studied the production between up dip wells? I mean, if you took those wells that are just to the north, whatever, 21, 28, 33, and so on, have you guys studied the impact that the depth or the dip has on those wells?
I haven't looked at all that fully yet. Those are like a lot of 3 milers just depicted to the north there and going toe down. That row north, just to the north there. I've looked at them a little bit, but I haven't done an extensive study. Again, looking more at, really trying to look at 4 milers, and there just hasn't been much production in the basin yet.
Okay. And you indicated that you'll drill these in late. I just want to make sure I heard you right. Late 20. You want to drill these in late 2026.
Correct.
Complete them when?
Probably in first quarter of 2027.
Okay.
Towards the end of the first quarter, because for the drilling time and everything.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, I just want to clarify a couple things real quick.
Sure.
There's the wells you have depicted here can all be drilled feasibly on 2560s. You could drill off of that pad in the north and go over to the neighboring spacing unit and drill 2 4-mile wells to the west, right, in that spacing unit.
Correct.
And 3 wells off that pad.
Or in that 25.
Right, in that 2560. And you said, so all of what you're proposing here is doable on the 2560s.
What?
Is there any part of what you're proposing that can't be achieved if you were issued 225, or if you were to leave the 2 2560s in place and not issue the 5120?
See, that probably is a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I don't see a reason why not. It's just because I'm producing from 5 wells from 2 different 2560s, but that can be commingled. You're correct. I don't see a reason why not. If we kept them as 2560s, Justin, I don't know if you have an opinion on that. I didn't think that.
I don't. I know that we had potentially had some issues with the commingling. I think with regards to the BIA minerals that were actually. Oh, sorry about that. With regards to the BIA minerals, but I'd have to speak with my regulatory manager about that. With regards to, and I'm apologize. With regards to whether or not this could be developed as 2 2560s to ease this through the board, we can certainly, and I'm sorry to do it, supplement the record with supplemental reasoning as to why we feel the 5,120 acre spacing unit is preferred for us as opposed to the 2 2560s, and why we would be asking the board for that. I'm sorry, apparently, Shivy and I can't seem to answer that question appropriately for you now.
I think it would be beneficial to have a supplement provided detailing what it is about the 5120 spacing unit that you can achieve that you can't do as part of the 2560s. I'm not sure I'm seeing it right now, but the commission's always in support of research and science and wants to see good work being done when it's necessary, right? Or like even the work you're doing, I just don't see anything that prevents you from doing it.
But just set up as two individual 2560s.
Right.
Okay. We can't get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions?
I don't know if it was covered, if I missed it. These are all Middle Bakken, I assume.
Correct. We're targeting Middle Bakken and all 10 wells.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Throne, how long do you think you need to keep the record open to submit any supplemental information?
A week. 29th. Let's do it to the 29th, which is the deadline for the other exhibits that we need to supplement from yesterday's hearings.
Okay, we will keep the record open in this case until the 29th. Anything further on this case?
Yes, I got a couple of quick questions from Mr. Shivy.
Okay.
Mr. Shivy, you remember some questions from Mr. Bohr about concerns on the tangent that you would be drilling wells to the edge of each 2560.
Yes.
If you were to develop these lands on 2560s from these existing pads, wouldn't you still have that same problems of a large tangent to drill the outside wells from either pad?
Correct. If we were to go back to 2560s, we'd still use the same, well bore layout that I have on A2.
So if Phoenix were to allay concerns about too large of a tangent for drilling the well, Phoenix would have to build a new pad to reduce that tangent for the outside wells on each spacing unit, wouldn't they?
Correct. In your scenario, yes.
So that would be two more pads, one on the north side, one on the south side. And does the additional cost of an additional pad adversely affect the economics of the wells?
Sure. In your scenario, Tom, yeah, we'd be building extra pads or two additional pads, additional facilities. Yes.
It increases the cost
Yes.
and increases the surface damage.
Correct.
And if this plan works, then you wouldn't have to incur those additional costs on other units if you chose to develop them on similar patterns.
Correct.
Okay. And I have one further question for Mr. Arn that I forgot to ask in his direct testimony. I'd like to call him back.
Okay, you may proceed.
Justin, did you cause both gas capture affidavits, exhibits E4A and E4B, to be executed?
I did.
And why two affidavits?
Two well pads, 4 miles apart. Felt more appropriate to provide two affidavits with regards to those separate pads.
Okay, I would ask that both those exhibits be admitted into the record. I only admitted one the last time around.
Right, they will be admitted. Anything further?
No further questions.
All right. Any additional questions from staff?
I want to make sure I understand your testimony, Eric, to that last question Mr. Throne asked you. So if you, why would you have to set up and build another pad? You either can drill the well or you can't, right?
I'm sorry. Repeat the question.
So it was inferred that I believe that if these are 2560s, you may have to build another pad to drill the wells with the extended reach.
I misunderstood. No, I think Tom was talking about another pad from the north and the south part of the unit. I might have misunderstood him. You're correct. Yeah, if we were to go back and drill them all north to south, we would only require one pad.
Yeah, I guess that wasn't following that. I mean, either you can drill the well or you can't.
Right.
Okay.
I will say we've already, as form hours, we've already drilled 3,000 foot step outs. So we feel comfortable and confident that we can go that extra 2,003 feet for 5,000 mile step.
Sure. Thank you.
5,000 feet step out. Excuse me.
Any additional questions? All right. Hearing none, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32783. The next case to be heard is case number 32404 on page 7 of the docket. This is an application of Phoenix Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Ranch Creek Bicycle Creek Bakken Pool to establish a stand-up 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 13, 24, 25, and 36, Township 146 North, Range 99 West, in McKenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize 5 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council?
Mr. Chairman, Tom Throne on behalf of Phoenix Operating, same 3 witnesses, and they are still under oath and they're still qualified.
All right, you may call your first witness.
Okay, Mr. Arn, starting with Exhibit L1, would you please describe the lands that are subject to this particular application?
Definitely. The lands included in this application are sections 13, 24, 25, and 36. Township 146 North, Range 99 West, located in McKenzie County, North Dakota.
Okay, moving on to Exhibit L2, please describe the contents of that exhibit, concentrating on the red square and the yellow colored lands.
Certainly. The red square there shows the 4 sections in gold, the 13, 24, 25, and 36 sections, which are the subject of this application. You will notice that green line there in the middle, a producing well, the Dolezal, formerly operated by SOGC, which is, I believe the change of operator form has been filed with the NDIC. Phoenix is now the operator of that unit, of that well, having purchased it from SOGC. Just wanted to identify some of the units surrounding this. I'm going to focus on the ones in gold there. Directly to the north, including sections 2536 1 and 2536 of 147.99, and then 1 and 12 of 146.99, is Phoenix's Leatherman unit. I will note that for this application here, Phoenix does plan on drilling both of those units from a common pad, I believe located on the section line or in the north of section 13 of 146 North, 99 West. You'll also see directly to the west, again, 2 2560 stand-ups. I think Phoenix has approved permits on 2635, 2, and 11. And Phoenix has, the board has approved spacing already for sections 14, 23, 26, and 35, which Phoenix also plans on developing. I wanted to point out as well 2 other gold 4-mile units there to the slight southeast, being our Brenda and Swenson units, which we also plan on developing. And then just as a last note, Phoenix, I believe, also had another application that was to be heard before the NDIC this month for a 3-mile stand-up that was directly south of this. Now, you can't see it on this map, but you can see the sections. That's sections 1, 12, and 13 of 145.99. Phoenix continued that application while we are the majority working interest owner in that 3-mile unit. We are still examining 145 North, 99 West to develop what we feel should be the idealized spacing pattern for that township. But we don't see any major issues with longer laterals down there, and we're just trying to make sure that when we come before the board that we have the most idealized plan in place. So that was it for L2.
Move on to L3.
L3 shows just a quick recap showing fee or state or federal state interest that might be within the unit. you can see that the state has a significant interest in the unit, and all of that interest is in fact leased.
And L4, it's leased by whom?
Phoenix owns 100% of the working interest in the proposed 2560, having closed the transaction with SOGC.
I have no further questions. Oh, yes, Mr. Arn, did you execute the gas, or cause to be executed the gas capture affidavits that are attached as exhibits E4?
I did cause the gas capture affidavit to be executed on E4.
Okay, I would ask that exhibits L1 through L4, together with E4, be admitted into the record.
Exhibits are admitted into the record as well as the affidavit. Staff have any questions? All right, seeing none, counsel, you can call your next witness.
Okay, Mr. Smith, would you start with exhibit G1 and describe the structure map on the Upper Bakken Shale?
Yes, sir. G1 is a geologic structure map on the Upper Bakken Shale with a subsea TVD contour interval of 20 feet. Joint formation is dipping to the north. The red rectangle is a proposed 2560, and we have a 3-well cross-section line in gold from A to A prime with our type log in the center, and those will be shown on the next exhibit.
Okay, moving on then to exhibit G2. Describe the cross-section type log as well as the reservoir properties at the bottom of exhibit G2.
Yes, sir. So the upper portion of exhibit G2 has our 3 wells from the gold cross-section line. Our center well, the Watson B N34-11-1H, is the type well we were using for the reservoir properties for volumetric and economic calculations. So these 3 wells are flattened on top of the Upper Bakken Shale formation, and showing that our target, which is the Middle Bakken, is present continuous throughout the region.
I have no further questions for Mr. Smith and ask that G1, G2 be admitted into the record.
Exhibits are admitted into the record. Staff have any questions? All right, seeing none, counsel, you can call your next witness.
Okay, again, I call Mr. Eric Shibby. Eric, starting with exhibit E1, is that exhibit any different than the last wellbore diagram that you described?
No, this is our standard 3-string casing design.
Okay, moving on to exhibit E2, please describe Phoenix's proposed development.
Yes, I denote here the 2560 we're planning to drill. Mr. Arnn testified that I've noted the pad location just off the DSU there, the southwest of the southeast of section 12, just to the north, and again that which a common pad with the Leatherman to the north. We plan to drill all 5 wells, batch drill and complete them in approximately Q1 of next year, middle of first quarter of next year is when we plan to spud. And I'll note that the older well there that we've just acquired, I want to point out that was completed with approximately 135,000 pounds of sand across the 2 miles. That equates to about 12 pounds per foot. We typically frack wells now at 1,000 pounds per foot, so they basically got one stage off in a 2 mile lateral. I'm not trying to be flippant about that. That's just how wells were completed back in the day. But where I'm going is we don't think that's going to be very detrimental to the performance of the 5 new wells. In fact, we have 1 well depicted. The middle well will be traversing or crossing over that old lateral. So anti-collision measures will be in place to avoid that lateral. That's all I have on that slide, Tom.
And so just to further clarify, what does Phoenix intend to do with that existing well over time?
Okay, well, when we do come to drill and frack the wells, that well will be taken down from production, frack protected. Then after completion of the new wells, and as we bring them online, we'll assess if we should be bringing that old well back online or not.
And if you don't bring it online, what are your plans?
Then the plans would be to ultimately file for a P&A application and plug the well.
Okay, moving on to exhibit E3.
Yes.
Describe the anticipated well economics based on the reservoir parameters of Mr. Smith.
Yes, top table is, again, first 4 lines describes our ARPS parameters used to yield about a 720,000 MBO per well, 720,000 barrel oil EUR per well. Average GOR in the area is a little high, 2,700 SCF per barrel. A little bit more gas in this area than other areas we operate. DSU recovery factor of all the wells would be about 20.6%. The gross economics are listed below. Again, average D&C cost for 4 mallards is $11.76 million. That yields a PV10 of $10.4 million per well. Internal rate of return right around 61%.
I have no further questions for Mr. Shivy. Ask that Exhibit C1, E2, and E3 be admitted into the record. E4 has already been admitted into the record.
Exhibits are admitted into the record. Staff have any questions? All right, seeing none, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32404. Next case on the docket is case number 32773, which is on page 1 of the docket. This is an application of Phoenix Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for Scabo Wild Rose Big Stone Corinth Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping 5120 acre spacing unit described as sections 25 and 36, Township 160 North, Range 98 West, sections 30 and 31, Township 160 North, Range 97 West, sections 1 and 12, Township 159 North, Range 98 West, and sections 6 and 7, Township 159 North, Range 97 West, and divide in Williams counties of North Dakota, and to authorize one horizontal well to be drilled on such unit and granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Counsel, you can call your first witness.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Call Justin Arn, and Justin, you're still under oath. Oh yeah, Mr. Examiner, Aaron Beaver, P.O. Box 1017, Saratoga, Wyoming. Bring this case 32773 on behalf of Phoenix Operating LLC. Justin. Oh yes. Yeah. Are you personally familiar with the land matters that are subject to this application 32773?
I am.
And did you prepare cause to be prepared the land exhibits for this application?
I did.
All right. Looking at Exhibit L1, can you please describe Phoenix's proposed spacing unit for this lease line well?
Certainly. Phoenix is proposing a 5,120 acre lease line only spacing unit consisting of sections 25 and 36 of 160 North, 98 West, located in Divide County, along with sections 30 and 31, 160 North, 97 West, also located in Divide County, and sections 1 and 12 of 159 North, Range 98 West, and sections 6 and 7 of 159 North, 97 West, all located in Williams County, North Dakota.
And turning to Exhibit L2, we have the proposed plan map. Can you not only describe the proposed unit with more specificity, but also address production within each particular already established unit there, please?
Certainly. I'm going to start with the gold, which has sort of muffled the numbers a little bit there for the section lines, or for the section numbers. But that area in gold there, what we're looking at is sections 30 and 31 of Township 160 North, 97 West, along with sections 6 and 7 of Township 159 North, 97 West. This is a 2,560 acre spacing unit that was heard by the board. I believe it was last month, if I'm not mistaken, that Phoenix intends to drill at the end of this year. So that comprises the base unit of our proposed lease line. And then I want to point out the other two areas that we intend the lease line to go through. So starting with the Wild Rose unit, this is a cord operated unit in sections 1 and 12 of Township 159 North, Range 98 West. Cord is aware of our plans for the lease line, and we've been in discussions with them. So that comprises the second unit that's going to essentially make up this lease line pool. And then finally, sections 25 and 36 of Township 160 North, Range 98 West. Now, I'll note that sections 25 and 36 were spaced in a 3-mile configuration, also applied for by Phoenix, which will include section 24. That's Phoenix's Candy Ferrari unit. That unit is not currently producing, but our expectation is that we're also going to be drilling that at the end of 2026, prior to obviously any drilling and completion of the lease line that we're proposing here.
And you said you talked with Cord. Did they indicate any objection to Phoenix's plans as submitted here?
They indicated no objection.
In terms of Section 24, does Phoenix plan to allocate production to Section 24?
It was not our intention to allocate production from the lease line well into Section 24. I think that we felt it was more appropriate to only allocate production from 25 and 36. A lease line could still be included for Section 24 coming from north. I believe that, and you can't see it on this map, and that's unfortunate, but Continental actually has a 4-mile spacing unit consisting of Section 6, 7, 18, and 19 of Township 160 North, 97 West. That a lease line could be drilled out that would include Section 24 in that potential pool that Continental might create.
Sure. Okay. Turning to Exhibit L3, can you please describe the general unit composition and general ownership within the proposed unit?
Certainly, as usual, L3 is just identifying any federal or state interests located in the proposed 5,120 acre spacing unit. We show that there are 640 acres of state interest, and all of those are leased.
And then turning to L4A, can you describe the working interest summary?
Certainly, and this may be a little different from what the board is used to seeing. I know you're used to seeing potentially a single page recapitulation table. We separated those out into each of their separate components on each page. So the first thing that we've got here is that base unit, which again was heard by the board. This is sections 30 and 31 of 160 North, 97 West, and sections 6 and 7, where you can see that Phoenix owns 59.17% of the working interest, and there's still 19% unleased, which we're still attempting to lease.
Okay, and then L4B, the Wild Rose unit working interest.
L4B identifies the Wild Rose interest, which we show Whiting owning 66.54%, and Kraken and other working interest owners owning the remaining working interest in that unit.
And then Exhibit L4C, the Phoenix's Candy Ferrari.
Certainly. And I want to point out that these are just the southern two sections of the Candy Ferrari unit, comprising sections 25 and 36 of 160 North, Range 98 West, where Phoenix owns 42.41% of the working interest. Not much in the way of unleased ownership there to continue to chase for Phoenix, but we have solid relationships with our working interest partners in this unit.
Sure, thank you. And then L4D, the entire AJ lease line working interest unit, working interest.
So from L4D, what we can see is 39.85% is the current working interest of Phoenix in the proposed unit. We're going to always be attempting to increase that. And then we show the remaining working interest owners and unleased mineral owners in the unit, as shown here in the entire, essentially, recap table of the entire unit.
And those unleased interests predominantly are coming from the base AJ unit that Phoenix is going to drill later this year.
Yeah, it looks like they are. That's my estimation.
Sure. And Justin, Exhibit E4, that's the gas capture affidavit. Did you cause to be executed the gas capture affidavit on Exhibit E4?
I did cause the gas capture affidavit to be executed.
No further questions for Mr. Arnn, and move for admission of the land exhibits and Exhibit E4 being the gas capture affidavit.
Motion's granted. Exhibits are admitted, as well as affidavits. Sap, have any questions?
Justin, a couple of things. You had mentioned you don't intend to allocate to Section 24. Isn't that really going to be up to the ultimate decision that is reached in the Petrolet Gears?
I'm not aware of that. Is that the case?
Well, I don't know. It hasn't been fully decided yet.
I guess it's been my understanding historically that the operators can request the board to allocate production as the operator sees fit, and the board can either approve or deny that. I know that in prior cases where Phoenix has drilled lease line wells, for example, our Young unit located in Williams County that goes up into Divide County, Phoenix drilled a lease line well into 3 1280 units and did not allocate production across all 3 1280s, but instead only the sections that were traversed by the lease line. And that was probably about 2 years ago, I think. And then after that, Phoenix did the same thing in our Jacobson unit, where we crossed into section 20. I want to say it was Township 160 North 98 West as well, where there was a producing spacing unit that had been created consisting of section 17 and 20. And Phoenix did not allocate production at that time. So my understanding is that, at least up until now, and I could certainly be wrong, but my understanding is that up until now, the operators can request from the board to allocate or not allocate production based on how they think it should be allocated. But if I'm wrong about that, please let me know.
The other thing you mentioned about it, if this application is approved, there's another case to the north here, case 32250, that is a Phoenix application for sections 1, 12, and 13, and 6, 7, and 18 for a lease line well. So that application is approved, and this application is approved. What's going to happen to the lease line between sections 24 and 19?
Well, that's a great question with regards to the lease line well in sections 1, 12, and 13. I guess I'd have to get back to you on that because that certainly could, depending on the lease line corridor and how close we get, and that certainly could inhibit Continental or another operator from going down into section 24. If based on that, I think it would be the board's preference that we do, in fact, allocate production across section 24. We'd be more than willing to. I will note that Phoenix owns more than half of the interest in section 24, so it certainly doesn't hurt Phoenix to allocate production across section 24. Potentially, it's just something we're not that used to.
Well, I think you're confusing two issues here. There's a lease line corridor between the townships, correct?
Yes.
And you want to take 25 and 36 and 30 and 31. And in the case 32250, you want to take 1, 12, and 13, and 6, 7, and 18.
Correct.
So there's a 1 mile between those two.
Yeah.
How is that lease line corridor going to get developed?
I'm sorry. I thought I just addressed that you're correct, that it would be leaving those sections behind. I thought I mentioned that up front. And if given that, the board's preference would be at least for section 24, that we allocated production there. That I don't see any reason why we potentially couldn't. It's just not something that we've really considered that well. With regards to section 19, we have 3 mile configurations set up in 160-98, whereas there are 4 mile configurations set up in 160 North 97 West. I'm not quite sure how I can get to that one.
Well, my point is if the lease line, obviously Phoenix believes the lease line should be developed in this area. You have 2 cases to develop the lease line, but you're leaving 1 mile out in between them.
No, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. We did leave 1 mile out, that 24 and 19, like you said. If the application for our Akimi Ferrari, I believe it is, or Gina Ferrari, that lease line was approved, then it would leave a lease line out on that side. Again, going back to section 19, I guess that would be, I'm not sure how we could get to that one from that case. Or sorry, from the current configuration.
One way is to drill another 4 mile well north of here.
I'm sorry, north from where?
Well, 1, 12, 13, and 24, 6, 7, 18, and 19 could be a lease line 4 mile well, couldn't it?
I don't see why it couldn't. We currently have 1, 12, and 13 set up as a 3 mile configuration, but once we try to establish pooling, we could certainly probably try to include section 24 into a completely separate pool. I mean, I guess at that point, then wouldn't we also be pooling sections 25 and 36 and allocating production across that?
I think you're confusing the issue here.
Okay, understood.
I mean, we're talking about just the development of that corridor.
Sure.
Doesn't matter where the oil gets allocated.
Okay.
So if I'm an owner in 24 and owner in 19, and I see a lease line to the north of me and a lease line to the south of me, why don't I get a lease line?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure. I guess we, like, in terms of like idealizing for absolute maximum number of wells, it would take a little talking with, frankly, Continental on that west side. There's no way that we could do it, I think, without discussing with Continental. But I will say this, we clearly have different configuration patterns very clearly in Township 160 North, 98 West, and 160 North, 97 West. So I think that potentially, to include what you're talking about, we would need a far deeper dive in attempting to do that and developing that pattern. I guess my other question would be, is that, or at least for myself, would that be a reason to disallow this particular application if this application actually included allocation across 24? Or would it be a further reason to potentially not approve the lease line in 112 and 13 as opposed to this one?
I think,
And that's not, I'm not trying to ask you questions. I'm just thinking.
well, no, I think that's appropriate. I mean, the commission has to look out for the relative rights of everybody.
Yeah.
And so, if we approve a lease line, two lease line wells with a gap in between, those owners aren't going to be able to. Nobody's going to drill one well lease line well.
Understood.
So, and maybe other witnesses can address that, but that is something the commission is concerned with.
Understood.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any additional questions? All right, thank you, Counselor. You can call your next witness.
Yes, Jacob, you're still under oath. Are you personally familiar with the geology matters that are subject to this application 32773?
Yes, sir.
And did you prepare or cause to be prepared the geology exhibits?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Jacob, looking at G1, please describe the structure of the middle block and underlying the spacing units and the proposed spacing unit outlined on G1.
Exhibit G1 is a geologic structure map on the Upper Bakken Shale, TBD sub C with a contour interval of 20 feet, showing formations dipping to the south. The red rectangles are proposed 5120, and we've got a 3-well cross-section line denoted in gold from A to A prime with our type log in the center, and those 3 wells will be in the next exhibit G2.
Okay, turning to G2, can you please describe the contents of the type log cross-section, the characteristics of the Bakken Shale?
Of course. So these 3 wells from the gold cross-section line A to A prime, our center type log. The center type log Roston 29-1 is the well that was those properties were used in the reservoir property table for the economic and volumetric calculations and Eric's engineering exhibits. So these 3 wells are flattened on the top of the Upper Bakken Shale. And since we're targeting the Middle Bakken, this clearly shows that the Middle Bakken is present and continuous throughout the area.
And, well, I guess that I have no further questions for Mr. Smith and move for admission of the geology exhibits.
Motion's granted. Exhibits are admitted. Questions from staff? Seeing none, Counsel, you can call your next witness.
All right, Eric, still under oath. Are you personally familiar with the engineering matters that are contained in this application 32773?
I am.
And did you prepare cause to be prepared the engineering exhibits in this application?
I have.
All right, Eric, can you please just run through quickly the wellbore example wellbore diagram on Exhibit E1?
Yeah, Exhibit E1, this is identical to the previous cases you heard today, 3-string casing design we use in the Williston Basin.
Sure. And on E2? Phoenix's proposed unit development.
Yeah, E2 here. I'm just depicting the lease line well we're talking about here on this case, right down the section lines between the 8 sections in this 5120. The pad we would be drilling from is denoted there. That'd be in the section 19, just to the north off this DSU. We would drill this lease line concurrently, batch drill it with the 4 other wells in the base unit, which comprises of sections 30, 31, 6, and 7. So we'd be drilling this lease line along with those 4. And Mr. Arns already talked about 25 and sections 25 and 36 and 160 north, 98 west. You'll see there is no current production in that unit, but we do plan to have that well drilling and completed prior to we start completion on this AJ unit. So we will have some production established there. And that concludes that slide.
Sure. E3, can you run through Phoenix's well economics for this lease line well?
Sure. Again, the top table just outlining the ARPS parameters for the oil EUR of about 730 MBO for this well. That recovers about 3%, 3.3% of the oil in place of this well bore layout. And the economics below, again, for a 4-mile lateral, it's 11.76 million. Yields a PV10 of approximately 8.6 million. And internal rate of return, 42%. And a payout right around 2 years.
All right. And Eric, in your opinion, will Phoenix's proposed spacing and operations in this proposed unit protect relevant rights, prevent waste, and avoid the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
And Exhibit E4 is that the gas capture affidavit Mr. Arn testified to?
That's correct.
No further questions for Mr. Shivy, and move for admission of the engineering exhibits, please.
Motion's granted. Exhibits are admitted. Questions from staff?
Eric, I believe you alluded to the fact that Phoenix is to drill wells in 24, 25, and 36. Is that right?
That's correct.
Is 112 and 13 also a Phoenix spacing unit?
Yes, and I'll clarify, that's 112 and 13 of 160 north, 98 west.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
So wouldn't it be feasible to drill another lease line well 4 miles to the north?
I bear with me. I think I know what you're saying. So we are applying for a lease line in another docket on the eastern side of 112 and 13. I think what you're talking about is from this, what we're calling the AJ pad, drilling a 4-mile lease line north to encompass 112, 13, 24 of 160, 98 west, and 6, 7, 18, and 19 of 160 north, 97 west. Am I on the same page? We can look at that as a potential. And I now do see your point. That would be like 2 competing lease line applications. And with the method I just proposed, or you proposed actually, you would not strand section 19 and 24. You'd be able to share in a lease line. I would have to confer with my colleagues and discuss that.
Okay. Because we will be evaluating this, so if you want to take a look at that and see if case 32-250, if if that would be something that Phoenix would consider. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
We'll do that.
Any additional questions?
The timing of your completions between the unit that you mentioned, 24, 25, and 36 versus the timing of this completion, what are those? When are you going to drill 24, 25, and 36?
That spuds in the middle part of Q4 of this year. And then we would be spudding the lease line well kind of in the later part of Q4. But our plan would be to complete the 3-mile or the 24, 25, and 36. We would complete that one first and then move the frac crew to the east to this 4-mile unit.
So essentially at the same time.
Basically the same time.
Back to back.
Yeah. We want to pop those wells while we're fracking the adjacent units, so they'd probably be coming on very, similar time. I don't have those dates right in front of me, but that would be the plan.
Okay. And then I think before we close the case, I'd like to talk to the DMR staff shortly, for a short period of time. Is that okay? Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we take a couple minute break before we close the case.
Yep, we can take a break. We'll keep the record open, and we'll just take a 5-10 minute break.
Great.
All right, we are back on the record in case number 32773, and we were in the process of wrapping up questions from staff and any additional questions or statements from staff.
I just, I had talked about whether Phoenix would look into drilling a 4-mile well to the north, and just to be clear, we want a response to that, and any other, concerns or questions that I might have raised. In particular, we have case 32773 and case 32250 are the two cases that are leaving that 1-mile lease line in between them out. So we just wanted to make that clear.
Anything else, council?
And Justin, we can supplement the record addressing that issue by April 29th, next Wednesday.
We can, and just to be clear, you want, in Mr. Boer, you want a direct answer as to whether or not Phoenix intends to drill a 4-mile lease line to ensure that sections 24 and 19 are not missing a lease line. Well, that's what you're asking, sir.
Yeah, what is Phoenix's position on that? Because, like I said, the commission is concerned about that lease line, so it would behoove you to probably address that.
Understood.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Anything else, council?
No further questions.
All right, with that, we will conclude the hearing for case number 32773. And next on the docket will be case number 32771. No. No.
I know, man. That's continental, I think. That's continental.
Are we?
They're the only ones in the waiting room. You just got those continental cases. Is that all you got? I didn't tell them to go in. There you go. There we go. Nice. Yeah, I'm ready. Did you call the case already? I didn't. Okay. Yeah, I think we're ready. I think we got everybody there. So.
All right, we'll reopen the record. The next case on the docket is case number 32771. This is an application of Whiting Oil and Gas Corp. For an order amending the applicable orders for the Wild Rose Indoor Corinth Bakken pools to establish two overlapping stand-up 2560-acre spacing units described as sections 26 and 35, Township 160 North and Range 97 West, and sections 2 and 11, Township 159 North and Range 97 West, and sections 5, 8, 17, and 20, Township 159 North, Range 97 West, and divided in Williams counties in North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. So, council,
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Demmer. Wade Mann, PO Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Whiting Oil and Gas Corp. Gonna have 3 witnesses in this case, and it'll be the same 3 in the next Whiting case as well, but it'll be Taylor Roberts, John Prim, and Eva Tomova Medina.
all right, council, you can call your first witness.
All right, Taylor Roberts.
All right, Mr. Roberts, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Taylor, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed and what capacity, and give us your business address?
Sure. Taylor Roberts, Senior Staff Landman for Cord Energy Corporation. Business address 1001 Fannin Street, Houston, Texas 7702.
And Taylor, have you previously testified before this commission?
Yes, sir.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, sir.
And are you familiar with the land matters that are associated with the proposed spacing units?
Yes, sir.
I would move the testimony of Mr. Roberts be received as that of an expert.
Your motion's granted.
And Taylor, can I have you look at L1 and identify the 2 spacing units you're requesting in this case?
Sure. Exhibit L1 is our regional locator map. The green box outlines sections 5, 8, 17, and 20 of 159 North, 97 West, excuse me. And the other requested 2560 is outlined by the blue box, being sections 2 and 11 of 159 North, 97 West, and sections 26 and 35 of 160 North, 97 West.
Okay. Let's move on to L2. Take us through your working interest in those spacing units.
Sure. The green box requested 2560. Cord has a 86.93% working interest. And then in the blue box, Cord has a 58.04% working interest.
Okay. And then moving on to L3, take us through that breakdown.
Sure. Starting with the westernmost 2560 being sections 5, 8, 17, 20. Cord has a 97.17% working interest in sections 5 and 8, and a 76.69% working interest in sections 17, 20. Now for the eastern 2560 sections 2 and 11, Cord has an 81.71% working interest. 5, Cord does not own any working interest at the moment. And sections 26 and 27, Cord has a 68.76% working interest.
Okay. And Taylor, just looking at in 160, 97, 34, 35, it looks like you got a well bore shown on there. Is that well's been P&A'd?
Correct. Yep. The R-Stack 4-34 is P&A. Last time it produced was February of 2020, but I know it's been P&A since then.
Okay. So that 1280 could be dissolved?
Yes, that would be our request to have that dissolved.
I have no further questions. I offer the line exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Questions from staff?
Just so I'm clear, the well that goes from 34 to 35 is P&A, section 34.
Yes, sir.
And the well from 27 to 26.
That one's still producing.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any additional questions?
I'll just make a comment that, we're splitting two 1280s here. The laydowns 26, 27, 34, and 35, but there's a Continental case that covers those sections 27 and 34. Correct. Yeah, thank you.
Any additional questions? All right, seeing none. Counselor, you can call your next witness.
Next witness is John Prim.
Mr. Prim,
Yes.
please raise your right hand, and do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
John, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed and what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is John Prim. I'm a geologist with Cord Energy, parent company of Whiting Oil and Gas. Business address 1001 Fannin Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002.
And John, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the geology underlying the proposed spacing units?
Yes.
I'd move the testimony of Mr. Prim be received as that of an expert.
Your motion's granted.
And John, let's look at G1. Can you describe the structure underlying these spacing units?
Yes, G1 is an Upper Bakken structure map in subsea TVD space with contour intervals of 25 feet. It outlines the two proposed spacing units in green and yellow, and it is showing that the Bakken formation over this area is dipping to the south.
Let's move on to G2. Can you take us through that ISOPAC map?
Yes, so G2 is Middle Bakken isopack centered over the same geographic area with the same two proposed spacing units outlined. The Middle Bakken isopack grid is in 2 feet contour intervals, and is showing that the Middle Bakken formation is thinning off to the west from approximately 63 in the east to approximately 54 in the west across these two units. So for approximate 62-foot thickness average in the eastern unit and approximate 55-foot average in the western unit there. Also shown is the location of the type log, which will be shown in the next exhibit, the Olaf Sever 1, right between those two units.
Okay. Let's move on to G3. The type log you've identified, can you describe what you're showing on that exhibit?
Yep, so this is the Olaf Sever 1. It's a triple combo log highlighting the reservoir properties underlying those two proposed spacing units.
Okay. I have no further questions that offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from staff? Seeing none, Counselor, you can call your next witness.
Next witness, Eva Tomova Medina.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Tomova Medina, could you raise your right hand, please?
Yes, sir.
And do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you.
Eva, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed and what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Eva Tomova Medina. I'm a development engineer with Whiting Petroleum, subsidiary of Cord Energy. Our address is 1001 Fannin Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002.
And Eva, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the engineering matters associated with these proposed spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Ms. Tomova Medina be received as that of an expert.
Motion's admitted.
And Eva, let's look at E1. How would you intend to develop that spacing unit?
Yeah, so on E1, we're showing the easternmost unit comprised of sections 211, 26, and 35, highlighted in the red box. We're showing 4 4-mile wells drilled from a southern pad on the south side.
Okay. Moving on to E2, that other 2560, how would that one be developed?
Yep, the southwestern 2560 is planned to be developed in a similar manner with 4 wells, 4 4-mile wells, and a pad on the south side.
Okay. And moving on to E3, could you summarize for us the reservoir data and take us through the economics?
Yes, sir. So we're expecting around 521 MBO per well here, and average investment is $11.3 million at 25% rate of return.
And Eve, if the commission approves these two 2560s to allow for that development, would that, in your opinion, prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, sir, I believe so.
Okay. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits and the affidavit are admitted. Any questions from staff?
Eva, on the western stand of 2560, 5, 8, 17, and 20, there'll be sections 29 and 32 to the north that would be sandwiched in between a stand-up 2560 to the north and this 2560 to the south. Is that something that you look at when you're establishing these space units?
Yes, we do for sure look at that and how we're affecting spacing around us. Unfortunately, we don't have leasehold in that 1280 currently. So if we do acquire that at a later date, we can definitely respace for 3-milers at that time. But with the current leasehold that we have, we're kind of trapped within our the spacing that we're hearing today.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing
Eva, is the well in 29 and 32, is that that's a cord well, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I thought I just heard you tell Mark that that wasn't cord grounds or cord lease.
Yes, I believe we lost the lease to it due to production losses, but I would have to refer to our land team to confirm that.
Yeah.
It looks like last production was in March 2020.
Okay, thank you. I got my answer.
Sir.
Seeing no further questions from staff, anything else, council?
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
All right, with that, we will conclude the hearing for case number 32771. And next on the docket is case number 32774. This is an application of Whiting Oil and Gas Corp. For an order amending the applicable orders for the Big Stone Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping stand of a 2560-acre spacing unit described as sections 1, 12, 13, and 24 in Township 159 North, Range 98 West in Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. Council?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, PO Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Whiting Oil and Gas Corp. And same three witnesses testifying in this case. Taylor Roberts will be the first witness.
All right, all the witnesses continue to be under oath, and you may proceed.
All right, thank you. Taylor, let's look at L1. Can you identify the 2560 you're requesting in this case?
Sure. L1's our original locator map. That blue box outlines the requested 2560, being sections 1 and 12, 13 and 24 of 159 North, 98 West.
Okay, moving on to L2, the working interest in that spacing unit.
Sure. Court has a 60.48% working interest in the requested 2560 acre unit.
And then the breakdown of the underlying spacing in L3.
Sure. In sections 1 and 12, court has a 68.26% working interest, and in sections 13 and 24, court has a 52.7% working interest.
I have no further questions. I'd offer the line exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted into the record. Any questions from staff? Seeing none, you can call your next witness.
Okay, John Prim. And John, let's look at G1. Can you describe the structure underlying this spacing unit?
Yep, so G1 is Upper Bakken structure map, essentially the same map as I showed in the previous case. 25-foot contour intervals over subsea TVD space, with this current proposed spacing unit outlined there in orange. And similarly, it's showing that the Bakken formation in this area is dipping off to the south across the proposed spacing unit.
Okay. And then on G2, what are you showing on with that ISOPAC map?
Yep, so Middle Bakken ISOPAC map, contour intervals of 2 feet, and it's showing that the Middle Bakken is thinning off to the northwest from approximately 55 feet in the southeastern corner of the proposed spacing unit to approximately 51 feet thick in the northwest corner there, for a average thickness across the unit of 53 feet on average. And then also shown there, just to the south of the proposed spacing unit, is the type log I'll be showing in the next exhibit, the Dalkey 1125.
Okay. And then on G3, can you take us through that type log exhibit?
So this is the Dalkey 1125. It's showing a triple combo log over the reservoir interval, highlighting the reservoir parameters we expect to encounter in the subsurface underlying this proposed spacing unit.
I have no further questions. I'd offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted into the record. Any question from staff? Having none, counsel, you can call your next witness.
All right, next witness, Eva Tomova Medina. And Eva, let's look at E1. How would you develop this spacing unit?
Yeah, so for this 2560 highlighted in the red box, we're again looking at 4-mile well bores drilled from a pad on the south side.
And then on E2, can you take us through that reservoir data and then the economics?
Yep. Similarly to the previous case, our well EORs here are estimated to be 521 MBO per well, with an average investment of 11.3 million per well, and 25% rate of return.
And even in your opinion, then, would establishment of this 2560 for that development prevent waste, protect relative rights, and also prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits and the affidavit are admitted. Any questions from staff? All right, seeing none. Anything else, counsel, on this case?
No, Mr. Examiner, thank you.
With that, we will conclude the hearing for case number 32774. It looks like we are back to case number 32770. And we'll take a break, go off the record, just for 5 minutes. All right, we are back on the record for case number 32770. This is an application of Continental Resources Incorporated for an order for the Wild Rose Bakken Pool and or Corinth Bakken Pool divide in Williams County, North Dakota to create and establish an overlapping 2568 acre spacing unit comprised of sections 27 and 34, range Township 1, sections 27 and 34, Township 160 North, range 97 West, and sections 3 and 10, Township 159 North, range 97 West, authorizing the drilling of a total not to exceed 4 wells on said proposed overlapping 2560 acre spacing unit and such further relief as appropriate. Council?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Lawrence Bender, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this matter, case number 32770 on behalf of Continental Resources, Inc. And Mr. Examiner, the previous hearing examiner would know who the witnesses are. Do you have that list, or do you want me to introduce them?
I have a list of Greg Sandberg, John Prim, and Tyler Smith.
No. Matt
I'm
Calloway,
sorry.
David Nance, and Stevie Wampler.
It's actually Elizabeth George. We testify on the engineering.
No.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Matt?
It'll be Elizabeth George testifying on for engineering.
Okay. Did we get the wrong name here, or was there a switch?
I believe we let you know yesterday it was going to be Elizabeth, but I think originally we probably talked about having Stevie do it.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.
So why don't you go ahead and call your first witness?
Okay, first witness is Mr. Matt Calloway.
Mr. Calloway, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Matt, state your full name for the record.
Matthew Calloway,
And Matt, by whom are you employed?
Continental Resources,
What capacity?
as a senior staff landman.
And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
I have.
Had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
I have.
Offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
Matt, I have a packet of exhibits in front of me, and I distributed to the commission staff for case 32770. I'd like you to turn to exhibit L1 in that packet, and I would like you to identify the exhibit and then briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
Sure. Exhibit L1 is a general locator map showing the existing field boundaries outlined in blue and the proposed 2,560 acre spacing unit outlined in red.
And exhibit L2.
L2 is the land plat of sections 3 and 10 of 159 North, 97 West, as well as a work interest breakdown indicating Continental having a 99.88% work interest.
And L3.
L3 is a land plat of section 27 of 160 North, 97 West. Continental does not have interest in this particular section. Whiting has 25%, and we have been in contact with Whiting to space this unit.
And L4.
L4 is a land plat of section 34 of 160 North, range 97 West, as well as a work interest breakdown with Continental having a 3.44% work interest.
And then finally L5.
L5 is a land plat of sections 3 and 10 of 159 North, 97 West, and sections 27 and 34 of 160 North, 97 West, and a work interest breakdown indicating Continental having a 51.54% work interest.
No further questions of the witness.
Any questions from staff? All right, seeing none, you may call your next witness.
Next witness is David Nance.
Mr. Nance, could you raise your right hand, please? Thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
David, state your full name for the record, please.
David Nance,
And David, by whom are you employed?
Continental Resources,
What capacity?
as a geologist.
And that capacity you testified before the commission previously?
Yes, I have.
Had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes, they were.
Offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
Your motion's granted.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. David, let's turn to the next exhibit, G1. As Matt did, what I'd like you to do is identify exhibit G1 and then briefly discuss what's contained upon that exhibit.
Sure. G1 is a map showing showing the field outlines outlined in blue. It is a structure map of the top of the Bakken in 50-foot contour intervals and subsea TBD. It has the proposed spacing unit highlighted in yellow and outlined in red. And the red star on the map would indicate the type log that we're using for our reservoir parameters.
Okay, let's go to G2.
Okay. G2 is a type log of the area, the red star that was indicated on the previous map. It shows the Bakken pool and the Wild Rose field from 50 feet above the Bakken down to the Bird Bear. And we expect uniform thickness, density, and porosity in the area.
No further questions of this witness.
Any questions from staff? All right, seeing none, Councilor, you may call your next witness.
Thank you. Elizabeth George.
Yes.
Ms. George, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Elizabeth, state your full name for the record, please.
Elizabeth George.
And Elizabeth, by whom are you employed?
Continental Resources.
In what capacity?
Reservoir engineer.
And in that capacity, have you had an opportunity to testify before the commission on previous occasions?
Yes, I have.
And have you had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes.
For the further testimony of this witness out of an expert.
Motion's granted.
Elizabeth, let's turn to the next exhibit in the packet. I think I skipped over G3. I don't think that really doesn't need any discussion in my view. Let's go right to E1. Can you tell me what E1 is?
E1 is a proposed directional well plot of the 2560 acre spacing unit in Williams and Divide counties in sections 3 and 10 of 159 North 97 West and 27 and 34 of 160 North 97 West. Existing Middle Bakken laterals are depicted in yellow, and proposed Middle Bakken laterals are depicted in green dashed lines.
And what's the red designation?
The red is a P&A Middle Bakken lateral.
Okay, let's go on then to E2.
E2 is a well construction diagram for a typical Middle Bakken well, depicting a lateral, estimated lateral TD of 31,000 feet of measured depth and a cemented lateral with approximately 125 plug and perf stages.
And E3?
E3 is our reserves basis and gross economics for the 4 mile Middle Bakken wells with an initial rate of 1,500 barrels of oil per day, decline rate of 56%, B factor of 0.93, estimated GOR of 2,098 standard cubic feet per barrel, yielding EURs of 810,000 barrels of oil, 1.7 BCF of gas, and 1,093,000 BOE. The gross economics are run at 60 and 3. The prices depicted in the exhibit are less our differentials. A drilling cost of $13.388 million, operating cost of $9,102 per month, yielding an NPV of $7,497,000, 55% rate of return, and a payout of 1.9 years.
And Exhibit GM1, is that a gas capture affidavit that the commission typically requires in these sorts of matters?
Yes.
In your opinion, will the requested relief prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, it will.
Mr. Examiner, no further questions. Offer the exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted into the record, as well as the gas capture affidavit. And any questions from staff? All right, seeing none, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32770. Next case on the docket is case number 32775. This is an application of Continental Resources Incorporated for an order amending the field rules for Stoneview Bakken Pool, Divide County, North Dakota, to create and establish an overlapping 1920 acre spacing unit comprised of sections 1, 12, and 13, Township 160 North, Range 95 West, authorizing the drilling of a total not to exceed 5 wells on said proposed overlapping 1920 acre spacing unit and such further relief. Council.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner Lawrence Bender. Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this matter case number 32775 on behalf of Continental Resources, Inc. We'll have the same three witnesses in this case as we had in the previous case 32770.
All right, you may call your first witness.
Okay. Matt, let's turn to the packet of exhibits for this case 32775. Let's go to exhibit L1 as you did in the previous case. Identify that exhibit and then briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
Your Exhibit L1 is a general locator map showing the existing field boundaries outlined in blue and the proposed 1920 acre spacing unit outlined in red.
And exhibit L2.
L2 is the land plat of sections 1 and 12 of 160 North, 95 West, and a work interest breakdown indicating Continental having a 79.84% work interest.
And exhibit L3.
L3 is a land plat of section 13 of 160 North, Range 95 West, as well as a work interest breakdown indicating Continental having a 72.34% work interest.
And then exhibit L4.
L4 is a land plat of sections 112 and 13 of 160 North, 95 West, and a work interest breakdown indicating Continental having a 77.34% work interest.
And Matt, this proposed 1,920 acre overlapping spacing unit is going to overlap one 1,280 acre spacing unit comprised of 1 and 12. Is that correct?
Correct. 1 and 12 and also 13 and 24.
Okay. And what is Continental proposing with respect to allocation of production if this 1,920 acre spacing unit is approved and wells are drilled on the 1920?
We will only be allocating to the 1920 being 1, 12, and 13.
Okay. And after this case, there's another case on the docket. It's Silver Hill Energy Operating LLC for 24, 25, and 36, a 1,920 acre spacing unit. Are you familiar with that application?
Yes. Yeah, Silver Hill and I have been in contact, and they will be doing that application right after.
Okay. And do you have an understanding as to what Silver Hill is going to recommend with respect to allocation of production on their 1,920 acre spacing unit?
Yes, my understanding is they will be allocating only to 24, 25, and 36 as to their 1920 as well.
Okay, and they'll be offering testimony along those lines. Is that also your understanding?
That's my understanding.
No further questions of this witness.
And the exhibits will be admitted into the record.
I usually offer the exhibits at the end if that's okay.
That's fine. Any questions from staff?
Matt, if I'm not mistaken, I believe 13, 24, 25, and 36 are stand-up 2560. I assume that was one of the older ones where was developed from the center of the space unit. I would assume it would be appropriate to terminate that spacing unit.
Yes, I apologize. I was thinking 1280s, but yes, that'll be terminated. Silver Hill is also, obviously with doing their 24, 25, and 36, 1920.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, counsel, and call our next witness.
David, Exhibit G1, can you identify and briefly discuss?
Sure. G1 is a map showing the field outlines in blue. The Bakken structure top is displayed in 50-foot contour intervals and subsea TVD. The proposed spacing unit is highlighted in yellow and outlined in red. And the type log used for reservoir parameters is indicated by a red star.
And G2?
G2 is that type log. It shows the Bakken from 50 foot above the upper Bakken top down to the Bird Bear. And the reservoir parameters that we are using are expected to be uniform.
Okay, and we won't skip G3 this time. Go to G3, please.
Yeah, G3 is a map showing the current development as it exists today, or close to today, with Three Forks laterals in the area indicated by a pink stick, and Bakken laterals are indicated by a green stick. The proposed spacing unit is highlighted in yellow, and the red star is the type log used for the area.
No further questions.
Any questions from staff? All right. Seeing none, you may call Ms. George.
Elizabeth, let's go to E1, please.
E1 is a proposed directional well plot of the 1920 acre spacing unit in sections 1, 12, and 13 in 160 North 95 West. Existing Middle Bakken laterals are depicted in yellow. Proposed Middle Bakken laterals are depicted in green, and proposed Three Forks laterals are depicted in pink. We are proposing 3 Middle Bakken laterals and 2 Three Forks laterals.
And E2.
E2 is a well construction diagram of a typical Middle Bakken well. Lateral TD is estimated around 26,000 feet of measured depth, and a cemented lateral with approximately 95 plug and perf stages.
E3.
E3 is our reserves basis for the 3-mile laterals and gross economics. The 3-mile laterals are estimated to have an initial rate of 1,310 barrels of oil per day, a decline rate of 53%, B factor of 1.1, a GOR of 1,927 standard cubic feet per barrel, yielding EURs of 731,000 barrels of oil, 1.4 BCF of gas, and 965,000 barrels of oil equivalent. The gross economics were run at 60 and 3. The prices depicted here are less our differentials. Drilling costs of $10.801 million, operating costs of $9,102 per month, yielding a internal rate of return of 58% and a payout of 1.9 years.
And Exhibit GM1, is that a gas capture affidavit that the commission typically requires in these sorts of matters?
Yes.
And in your opinion, will the requested relief prevent waste, protect relative rights, prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, it will.
Mr. Examiner, no further questions. Offer the exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted into the record. Any questions from staff? All right. Seeing no questions from staff, I will conclude the hearing for case number 32775. Next case on the docket is case number 32788. Case number 32788 is an application of Silver Hill Energy Operating LLC for an order amending the field rules for the Stoneview Bakken Pool and our North Tioga Bakken Pool, divide County, North Dakota, to create and establish an overlapping 1920 acre spacing unit comprised of sections 24, 25, and 36 in Township 160 North, Range 95 West, authorizing the drilling of a total not to exceed 4 horizontal wells on said proposed overlapping 1920 acre spacing unit and such further relief. Council?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Lawrence Bender, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this matter, case number 32788 on behalf of Silver Hill Energy Operating LLC. And we intend to call 3 witnesses in this matter. Kyle Bossi will be offering some land testimony, and Alyssa Meyer will be offering geologic testimony, and Billy Jaroska will be offering some engineering testimony.
All right, you can call your first witness, Mr. Bossi.
They're not on yet.
Okay.
We still got Continental on the screen. Kyle, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay.
I can as well.
Okay, great. Is Annalisa on as well? There she is. Yeah. Okay, we're ready, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Bossi, could you raise your right hand, please?
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir, I do.
Kyle, state your name for the record, please.
Kyle Bossy,
And Kyle, by whom are you employed?
Silver Hill Energy Partners,
In what capacity?
as the Bakken land manager.
And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
Yes, sir.
Had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes, sir.
Offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
Kyle, let's turn to the packet of exhibits that I've distributed to the commission staff. I'm going to direct your attention to Exhibit L1. What I'd like you to do is identify Exhibit L1 and then briefly discuss what's contained upon that exhibit.
Got it. Okay, so L1 is a locator map below. It depicts Township 16095 West in Divide County. The 1920 spacing unit we're proposing is represented by the black dashed line box.
Okay, and what sections are included in that black line box?
Sorry, that's section 24, 25, and 36 in 16095.
Okay, great. Let's go on to L2. Tell us what that is.
Okay, so L2 is zoomed in plat. It shows our proposed 1920 spacing unit overlapping the previous 2560 spacing unit shown in the green box. Currently in the 2560, Silver Hill owns 42.85% working interest, covering sections 13, 24, 25, and 36. The proposed 1920 Silver Hill currently owns 57.14% working interest.
Okay, and how is Silver Hill proposing allocating production from this 1,920 acre spacing unit that it's requesting be established?
Right. In discussions with Continental, we believe development between the proposed North 1920, which Continental would operate, and the Southern 1920 that Silver Hill would operate would be drilled in a reasonable time frame of one another. And in order to protect the correlative rights of the royalty owners, we believe the box method for payment of revenue is the correct method in this situation.
And when you say box method, the allocation of production from your 1920 wells will be to owners of interest in 24, 25, and 36 of 16095. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. No further questions of the land witness.
Questions from staff? All right. Seeing none, you may call your next witness.
Annalisa Meyer. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly, Annalisa?
Yep.
Okay.
Ms. Meyer, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Annalisa, could you state your full name for the record, please?
Annalisa Mayer,
And by whom are you employed?
Silver Hill Energy Partners.
In what capacity?
I'm a senior geologist here.
In that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
No, I haven't.
What I'd like you to do, Annalisa, is briefly highlight for the examiner and commission staff your educational background and work experience.
Sure. I have a bachelor and master's degree in geology from the University of Colorado. And prior to joining Silver Hill Energy Partners last year in October, I have 14 years experience through various operators, including Apache, Pioneer Natural Resources, Sundown Energy, and ExxonMobil in various subsurface technical roles.
And in preparation for today's hearing, have you made a thorough study and review of all the relevant geologic matters concerning the request of Silver Hill in case 32788?
Yes, I have.
And have you prepared or had prepared under your control and supervision some exhibits that you intend to sponsor?
Yes.
Have you satisfied yourself as to the accuracy of those exhibits?
Yes, I have.
Offer the further testimony of this witness out of an expert.
Your motion is granted.
And Alyssa, let's go to the next exhibit in the packet, G1. What I'd like you to do is identify exhibit G1 and then briefly describe what's contained on that exhibit.
Sure. Exhibit G1 is a geologic structure map showing the top of the Middle Bakken with a 50-foot contour interval. The Middle Bakken dips from north to south with no known faults within the proposed spacing unit. The red lines shown on top show the various field outlines neighboring the proposed spacing unit, and the red star in section 24 shows the type log that's later exhibited in Exhibit G2.
And G2, tell us what that exhibit is, please.
G2 shows our type log of the McCoy 21 drilled by Conoco Inc. It captures the Upper Bakken Shale through the Three Forks Formation into the top of the Bird Bear. The Middle Bakken is 65 feet thick, and our landing target is indicated by the red arrow. The log has a gamma ray and caliper curves shown on the far left track, then deep resistivity in the middle, and density, porosity, and bulk density on the far right.
No further questions of this witness, Your Honor.
Any questions from staff? Seeing none, you may call your next witness.
Okay. Billy, can you state your full name for the record, please?
Yes, Billy Jaroska.
Mr. Jaroska, could you please raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Billy, by whom are you employed?
Silver Hill Energy.
What capacity?
Vice President of Reservoir Engineering.
And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
I have.
Had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes.
For the further testimony of this witness out of an expert.
Your motion is granted.
Billy, let's go to the packet exhibits. We've discussed the land exhibits and the geologic exhibits. Let's go now to the engineering exhibits, E1. And what I'd like you to do is identify exhibit E1 and then briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
Yes. E1 is our proposed development plan for this 1920. And as you can see, it's got the various wellbores that are currently drilled in the Bakken and Three Forks Formation, with the Bakken wells being green and the Three Forks wells being red. And we have negotiated or in the process of negotiating a surface location in the north half of section 24 in the approximate location of the purple square. We plan on drilling 4 Middle Bakken wells as depicted by the green dashed lines here with this 1,920 acre development.
Okay, and then let's go to E2. Tell us what E2 is.
E2 is our typical wellbore design for a Middle Bakken well. As you can see, we're going to run a 4.5-inch liner and stimulate the well with a plug and perf stem method with approximately 50 stages.
And E3?
E3 is the reservoir parameters and economics that we're anticipating for this DSU. As Annalisa mentioned, we have 65 feet of Middle Bakken. You've got 8% porosity with 50% water saturation, oil in place of around 39 million barrels. We anticipate a initial oil rate of 800 barrels a day, coming off at 75% decline with a 1.1 B factor, yielding a EUR per well of 554 MBO. At $65 flat, which I hope we never get back to, but we'll see how it goes, and a $9.25 million CapEx. We're expecting a PV10 of $2.7 million to the 100% working interest and a rate of return of 29%.
And then Exhibit E4, is that a gas capture affidavit that the commission typically requires in these sorts of matters?
It is.
In your opinion,
one other thing that I would like to add, and I should have said it on the development, our timing on this pad, and you guys typically ask me this, but I figured I'd front run it. We would like to build this pad as soon as possible. So we would like to build it this summer. So if we could get an expedited order, which I think Lawrence will follow up with on a request, we'd like to build the pad this summer and be able to drill it either late summer or in the fall of this year.
Okay, thank you for that, Billy. In your opinion, will the requested relief prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
No further questions, Mr. Examiner. Offer the exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted into the record. Any questions from staff? Hearing none, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32788. Next case on the docket is case number 32779. Case number 32779 is an application of EOG Resources Incorporated for an order amending the field rules for the partial Bakken Pool in Mountrail County, North Dakota as follows. 1. Create and establish an overlapping 1280 acre spacing unit comprised of sections 13 and 24, Township 152 North, Range 90 West, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on said proposed overlapping 1280 acre spacing unit. And 2. Create and establish an overlapping 1600 acre spacing unit comprised of section 13, Township 152 North, Range 90 West, and the west half of section 18 and all of section 19, Township 152 North, Range 89 West, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on said proposed overlapping 1600 acre spacing unit and such further relief. Council.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. You did read the caption for 32779, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Lawrence Bender, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in case 32779 on behalf of EOG Resources, Inc. EOG intends to call 2 witnesses in this matter. Anna Morgan will be offering some land testimony, and John Schmidt will be offering both geology and engineering testimony.
All right. I guess I see them. I might as well swear them both at the same time.
Okay.
Could you both raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
All right. You may call your first witness.
Thank you. Anna, state your full name for the record, please.
Anna Morgan,
And Anna, by whom are you employed?
EOG Resources Incorporated,
In what capacity?
Land Advisor.
And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
Yes.
Had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes.
Offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
Anna, let's go to the packet of exhibits for 32779. Let's turn to exhibit L1, which is the cover page, as well as an exhibit. Tell us what L1 is.
L1 is a regional location map depicting the partial Bakken Pool in red.
Okay, and L2.
L2 outlines the partial Bakken Pool in a green outline, and then it also shows our 2 requested DSUs. Our proposed 1,280 acre spacing unit is outlined in red, and our proposed 1,600 is outlined in blue.
Okay, and L3.
L3 is a land plat showing our requested spacing units. In the 1,280 acre unit outlined in red, EOG has 69.5% working interest. And in the 1,600 acre spacing unit outlined in blue, EOG has 73.5% working interest.
Okay, and L4.
L4 again shows our requested spacing units as along with the existing underlying spacing units. There are various 640s and 1280s that are underneath here. All of the producing pooled underlying units are fully enclosed within our requested units.
And then L5.
L5 shows 3 existing 1,280 acre spacing units that EOG believes can be vacated upon approval of this case.
No further questions.
All right, questions from staff? All right, seeing none, you may call your next witness.
John, would you state your full name for the record, please?
John Michael Schmidt,
And John, by whom are you employed?
EOG Resources,
In what capacity?
as a senior geological engineer and planning on our planning team.
Okay. And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
I have.
And have you had your qualifications accepted that as an? Have you had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Offer the further testimony of this witness out of an expert.
Motion's grounded.
Okay, John, let's go to the exhibits. G1, very briefly, tell us what that is and then briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
It's a Bakken structure, reservoir structure map, with the Bakken being present at approximately 7,100 feet subsea, dipping to the southwest. The requested units are in green and blue, and then the Shell Creek 1-1 well is to the north, and that's going to be our type log, which is then shown in Exhibit G2, showing that the Middle Bakken and Middle Bakken, Upper Bakken Shale, Middle Bakken, Lower Bakken Shale, and Three Forks are all present under the units.
Okay, so you moved now. You started testifying to G1, but you've testified to G2.
Sorry.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Anything
Sorry,
more?
I moved on.
No, I told you to go do it briefly, but you're moving quickly. So, anything more on G2?
No, sir.
Okay, let's go to G3 then, or excuse me, E1. Apologize.
E1 just shows what we're requesting, which is 1280 for the purpose of drilling one Bakken well, no Three Forks wells, and then a 1600 to drill one Bakken well, no Three Forks wells.
Okay, and then E2.
E2 shows the well that we would propose drilling under the 1280, basically right along the west line, and then and then moving on to E3.
Just a second on E2. Yep. The well that you're going to drill on the 1280, that's you said is along the west line. That's the blue dashed line. Is that correct?
Blue line.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right. Now let's go to E3.
And then in both of these exhibits, I have red dashed lines for other wells that are associated and that we're planning on drilling that are subject to other DSUs.
Okay. E3.
E3 then shows the 1,600 acre unit in green and the well path that we propose drilling for that one well that we're asking for in the 1,600 acre unit. And that's it.
So once again, color coordinated. The green box represents the spacing unit, and the green dash line represents the well to be drilled in that spacing unit.
Correct.
Okay. E4.
And then, yeah.
Okay.
And then E4 is just the cross section showing how those wells would appear in wine rack fashion. The wells that we're proposing drilling are the blue dotted circle and the green dotted circle. As I said, both will be Middle Bakken, not a Three Forks. There is one existing Three Forks in section 19, but it wasn't that great of a well, so we are going to concentrate on Middle Bakken here.
Okay, E5.
E5 then shows the plug and perf state or typical wellbore diagram, cemented liner, and we're going to do plug and perf stages for completion, 44 to 49 for the 10,200 foot lateral, and 59 to 64 for the 13,500 foot lateral.
Okay, E6.
E6 is the reservoir data for the area. You'll see that total oil in place for the 1280 is 33,000 MBO or 33 million MBO, and for the 1600, 42.
And E7.
And E7 shows our economics for the 10,200 foot lateral for the 1280 case. EUR is approximately 492,000 barrels. The investment for us will be about 7.6 million for the one well. Severance tax of 1.8 million, and this all gets down to our return on investment of about 1.53 on an investment of 7.6.
Okay, E8.
And then E8 shows for the 13,500 foot case, 675,000 barrels is our expected EUR. Obviously, the Three Forks were based on the well result in the area. We're discounting pretty hard, so we're showing those as not being economic. So the 13,500 foot lateral has an investment of $9 million plus or minus, and return of 2.09, and undiscounted cash flow of 9.8 million. And all my numbers are at $60 oil. As someone said previously, hopefully don't get back down to there, but that's the base that we run it at.
And exhibit GC1, is that a gas capture affidavit that the commission typically requires in these sorts of matters?
Correct.
In your opinion, will the requested relief prevent waste, protect correlative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, it will.
No further questions. Offer the exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted into the record. Questions from staff?
Just a clarification question, John, on your economics that you're showing. Are those gross economics or are those just net EOG?
Those are gross.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? All right, seeing none, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32779. Next case on the docket is case number 32781. This is an application of Coda Resources Operating LLC for an order amending the field rules for the Fertile Valley Bakken Pool, Divide County, North Dakota, to create and establish 3 overlapping 3840 acre spacing units comprised of sections 3, 4, 9, 10, 15, and 16, and sections 21, 22, 27, 28, 33, and 34 in Township 160 North, Range 102 West, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on or near the section line between existing spacing units on each proposed overlapping 3840 acre spacing unit and such further relief. Council?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Lawrence Bender, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this matter. Case number 32781 on behalf of Coda Resources Operating LLC. 3 witnesses, land witness, I believe, Allie Schuster. Allie, you doing land? I don't know if they can hear us. Can you hear us? Guess they can't see me. Hello? Can you hear us? They can't see me. They can only see you. The camera's behind me. Do this.
Can you hear us?
This happened last time.
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Great. So, Allie,
Okay, great. Sorry about
you're going
that.
to handle land testimony.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Mr. Examiner, 3 witnesses: Allie Schuster, land; Eric King, geology; Jake Hervey, engineering.
All right, Ms. Schuster, could you raise your right hand, please?
Did you?
I asked Ms. Schuster to raise her right hand.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Allie, state your full name for the record, please.
Allie Schuster,
And Allie, by whom are you employed?
Coda Resources,
What capacity?
as a landman.
And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
I have.
Had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes.
Offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
Motion granted.
So, Allie, let's turn to the packet of exhibits for 32781. Let's turn to Exhibit L1. What I'd like you to do is identify Exhibit L1 and briefly describe what's contained upon that exhibit.
Exhibit L1 is a regional locator map showing the general area where today's application is located, pointing mainly to that divide line between Divide and Williams County.
And L2.
Exhibit L2 is a location map that shows the 3 line well DSUs that are the subject of today's application. They are located in sections 3, 4, 9, 10, 15, and 16 of 160-103, sections 21, 22, 27, 28, and 33 and 34 of 160-103, and sections 23, 24, 25, 26, and 35 and 36 of 160-102.
Okay, let's go to L3.
L3 shows a zoom-in picture of our first line well spacing unit in sections 3, 4, 9, 10, 15, and 16 of 160-103. It shows the two underlying DSUs. They are two 1920 DSUs that were spaced at various different cases with the NDIC over the last couple of years. And it outlines that our working interest in the existing 1920 in 4, 9, and 16 is 81.77. And our working interest in the existing 1920 in sections 3, 10, and 15 is 76.72%. And that our working interest in the proposed line well would be 79.24%.
Okay, great. So let's go on to L4.
L4 is the same for the proposed line well to the south, covering sections 21, 22, 27, 28, 33, and 34 of 160-103. It shows the existing 1920s underlying this line well application and shows that our working interest in the existing 1920 and 21, 28, and 33 is 94.64%. Our working interest in the underlying DSU in 22, 27, and 34 is 96.14%. And our working interest in the proposed line well is 95.39%.
All right, let's go to L5 and same as you've done with the previous two exhibits, identify, briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
Exhibit L5 is the same, just for the third and final line well under this application, located in sections 23, 24, 25, 26, 35, and 36 of 160-102. Our working interest in the underlying DSU in 23, 26, and 35 is 72.5%. And our working interest in the underlying DSU in 24, 25, and 36 is 76.56%. And our working interest in the proposed line well will there be 74.53%.
No further questions, the land witness.
Any questions from staff?
Just, I think, pointing out, I think we might have an advertising issue here.
Rich, it's just on that docket. It was advertised fine online.
So it was advertised correctly. It's just in
that note
okay.
one, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, you may call your next witness.
Thank you. Eric Kling, and I apologize. I may have said King when I introduced them, so I apologize for that.
Mr. Kling, could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Eric, state your full name for the record.
Eric Rolf Kling.
And Eric, by whom are you employed?
Photo Resources.
What capacity?
I am a senior geologist here.
And have you testified before the commission previously?
I have.
Had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes.
Offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
Okay, Eric, let's go to the next exhibit in the packet, Exhibit G1. Please identify that exhibit and then briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
Sure. Exhibit G1 is a structure contour map on the top of the Middle Bakken with a contour interval of 50 feet. Across the proposed line well spacing unit, the Middle Bakken dips to the south at approximately 50 feet per mile, or about half a degree. I'm also illustrating in the pink line the location of cross-section AA prime, which is shown in Exhibit G2.
Okay, let's go to G2.
Exhibit G2 is a two-well cross-section showing quad combo logs from near the base of the lodge pole down through the Middle Bakken, 3 forks to the top of the Bird Bear Formation. We target the middle Bakken illustrated by the light green shaded interval, which is around 55 feet thick in the area around the proposed line well spacing unit.
No further questions.
Any questions from staff? All right, seeing none, let me call your next witness.
Jake, would you state your full name for the record, please?
Jake Hervey.
All right, Mr. Hervey, could you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Jake, by whom are you employed?
Coda Resources.
What capacity?
Reservoir engineer.
And in that capacity, you testified before the commission previously and had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert.
Yes.
Pardon me?
Yes.
Okay. Offer the further testimony of this witness out of an expert.
Motion's granted.
Jake, let's turn to Exhibit E1 in the packet. Identify that exhibit, briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
Yep. E1 just shows the proposed layout of our line well. The proposed line well is shown in green. You can also see a couple of existing wells that have been drilled into one of the existing 1920s, as well as the already approved additional spaced wells at 5 wells per DSU. You can see the pad locations where we plan to develop this line well from as well.
E2?
E2, similar exhibit, just for the southern line well. You can see that proposed location in green, along with the already approved Middle Bakken spacings in blue and 2 PDP wells in black.
E3?
E3 is the third proposed line well layout here. You can see 2 1920s with our existing PDP wells in those. You can see the proposed line well in green, and then the other already approved spaced Middle Bakken wells in blue.
Okay, let's go on to the next exhibit then. E4, tell us what E4 is.
4 is our typical Middle Bakken type well diagram. You can see our 3-string casing design, our 4.5-inch tieback liner, and we're planning around 100 plug and perf stages for each of these line wells.
And E5?
E5 is just an overview of our reservoir properties and recovery factor parameters. So you can see we're expecting to produce around a 42 API oil. As Eric mentioned, we have around 55 feet of Middle Bakken thickness here. Upper Three Forks is also saturated and contributes to production. We're estimating on the bottom, when I look at just the volumetrics for the kind of line well area itself, in our expected EUR, we're getting a recovery factor of around 15%.
And E6.
E6 is our Middle Bakken expected economics for this area. We expect to IP around 750 barrels of oil per day. Our DNC parameters down at the bottom, and then overall payout of around 14 months is expected. And EUR of around 540 MBO.
And E7, is that a gas capture affidavit that the commission typically requires in these sorts of matters?
Yes.
And in your opinion, will the requested relief prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
No further questions. Offer the exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted into the record. Any questions from staff?
Jake, on your exhibits E1, 2, and 3, do you know which pad the wells are going to be drilled from?
Yes, so so I can go case by case. In E1, it'll be the western pad. We'll reoccupy that pad and drill 2 to 3 wells from that pad, along with 3 to 4 from the eastern pad when we develop that. That would be the same for E2. It'll be the western pad that already has the 2 existing producers. And then on E3, I believe that one will be developed from the eastern pad, just due to anti-collision considerations.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any further questions? Seeing none, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32781. Next case on the docket is case number 32782. This is an application of Coda Resources Operating LLC for an order amending the field rules for the Sioux Trail Bucket Pool in Divide County, North Dakota to create and establish two overlapping 30 to 40 acre spacing units comprised of sections 5, 6, 7, 8, 17, and 18, and sections 19, 20, 29, 30, and 31, and 32, Township 160 North, Range 101 West, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on or near the section line between existing spacing units on each proposed overlapping 38, 40 acre spacing unit, and such other further relief. Council.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Lawrence Bender, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this matter, case number 32782 on behalf of Coda Resources Operating LLC. We'll be calling the same three witnesses in this case as we did in the previous case.
All right, may call your first witness.
Okay. Allie, let's turn to the packet of exhibits for case 32782. Let's go to L1.
Exhibit L1 is a regional locator map showing the general area where today's application is located, specifically in Township 160 North, Range 101 West.
And Exhibit L2?
Exhibit L2 is a zoom in of the regional locator map showing the location of the two proposed line well applications in the Sioux Trail field.
And L3?
Exhibit L3 is a zoom in of the first line well application covering sections 5, 6, 7, 8, 17, and 18 of 160-101. It shows that our working interest in the existing 1920 in sections 6, 7, and 18 is 85.57%, and that Coda does not own a working interest in the existing underlying 1280s that would be a part of this proposed line well. Those are both owned and operated by Hunt. And Coda has been in contact with Hunt regarding this application and has discussed this with them, and they have no issues with hearing this line well application. Our working interest in the proposed line well will be around 42%, unless something else is worked out with Hunt.
Okay, L4.
L4 is a zoom in of the south line well spacing unit covering sections 19, 20, 29, 30, 31, and 32. Our working interest in the underlying 1920 acre spacing unit in sections 19, 30, and 31 is 74.38%. Coda has no working interest in the northern 1280 underlying section 20 and 17 to the north, and has about 13% working interest in the 1280 and 29 and 32. And then our proposed working interest in the line well is around 41%. Once again, the operator of section 17 and 20 on that existing well is Hunt. We have been in contact with them and they are aware of this application.
No further questions of this witness.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions from staff? Seeing none, you may call your next witness.
Okay, Eric, G1.
Yeah, Exhibit G1 is a structure contour map on the top of the Middle Bakken with a contour interval about 50 feet. Across the proposed line well spacing unit, the Middle Bakken dips to the south at approximately 50 feet per mile, or around half a degree. Also illustrated in pink is the location of cross-section AA prime, which is the subject of Exhibit G2.
Okay, G2.
G2 is a two-well cross-section showing quad combo logs from near the base of the lodge pole down through the Bakken, Three Forks, to the top of the Bird Bear Formation. We target Middle Bakken illustrated by the light green shaded interval, which in this case is about 53 feet thick in the area around the proposed line well spacing unit.
No further questions.
Any questions from staff? All right, seeing none, you may call your next witness.
Jake, E1.
E1 is a layout of the proposed line well shown in green. You can also see our 5 approved Middle Bakken spaced wells in the existing 1920 acre spacing unit. And you can see the 2 PDP wells operated by Hunt to the east that Ali mentioned.
E2.
E2 is a similar layout of the southern DSU in this area, which will be developed from the same pad. You can again see the approved 5-well Middle Bakken spacing and our proposed Middle Bakken line well.
And E3.
E3 is our typical Middle Bakken type well diagram. You can see our 4.5-inch tieback liner. And again, we're planning roughly 100 plug and perf stages for this completion.
E4.
E4 shows our oil in place parameters for the Middle Bakken and Upper Three Forks in this area. Again, we have around 53 feet of Middle Bakken. We expect similar fluid properties, similar phase behavior. In the line well area itself, we're expecting around a 15% recovery factor with a 540 MBO well.
E5.
E5, just showing our well economics expected. IP should be around 750 barrels of oil a day, and expecting an IRR of around 45% with payout of 14 months with our 540 MBO well.
Okay. And then Exhibit E6. Is that a gas capture affidavit that the commission typically requires in these sorts of matters?
Yes, it is.
In your opinion, will the requested relief prevent waste, protect relevant rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
No further questions. Offer the exhibits.
Exhibits are read into the record. Any questions from staff? Okay. All right, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32782.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next case on the docket is case number 32789. This is an application of Formentera Operations LLC for an order amending the field rules for the Larson Bakken Pool in Burke County, North Dakota as follows. 1. Create and establish 3 overlapping 2560 acre spacing units comprised of sections 16, 21, 28, and 33, and sections 17, 20, 29, and 32, and sections 18, 19, 30, and 31 in Township 162 North, Range 94 West, authorizing the drilling of a total not to exceed 6 horizontal wells on each proposed overlapping 2560 acre spacing unit, and 2. Create and establish 2 overlapping 5120 acre spacing units comprised of sections 16, 17, 20, 21, 28, 29, 32, and 33, and sections 17, 18, 19, 20, 29, 30, 31, and 32 in Township 162 North, Range 94 West, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on or near the section line between existing spacing units on each proposed overlapping 5120 acre spacing unit and or such further relief. Council.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Lawrence Bender, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this matter on behalf of Formentera Operations, LLC. And we intend to call 3 witnesses in this matter. Not sure who's going to be offering the land testimony. Laura, are you there?
I will, Donald Harrell.
Okay, thank you. So our first witness will be Donald Harrell.
All right, Mr. Harrell, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Donald, state your full name for the record, please.
It's actually Charles Donald Harrell III.
And Donald, by whom are you employed?
Formentera Operations.
In what capacity?
I'm a land manager that oversees several areas, one including the Williston Basin and Bakken.
And in that capacity, have you testified before the commission previously?
I have.
Had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes.
offer the further testimony of this witness as that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
Harold, let's skip the cover page and let's skip the next page after the cover page, which is just an overview, and let's go right to Exhibit 1. And what I would like you to do is identify Exhibit 1 and then briefly discuss what's contained on Exhibit 1 and why it's important to today's case.
Yes, it's just an exhibit showing the 4-mile DSUs that we are applying for spacing. Essentially 3 4-mile DSUs lined up together. We had previously spaced 3-mile DSUs. Have completed we're completing a transaction that would allow us to move this to 4 miles, but these are the DSUs that we are applying for in this case.
And there's no need to identify those again here, but they're the 4 areas that the hearing officer identified in the caption when he read the caption of the case. Is that correct?
That is.
Okay. Let's go on then to the next exhibit, Exhibit 2. Can you tell us what Exhibit 2 is?
Yes, this is showing those same 4-mile DSUs that we're applying for over the existing spacing and pulling orders, I guess, but essentially the spacing. Again, this was 2 3-mile DSUs stacked on top of each other. Last month, another operator, Phoenix, had respaced to the north. This is part of an ongoing transaction that is closing, but we're working with them to allow the 4-mile development. So it's showing the 3-mile DSU to the south, essentially being extended 1 mile to the north. That's what we're applying for.
And it also shows some of the other spacing in the area that it's not all 4-milers. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Let's go on then to Exhibit 3. And what I'd like you to do on that exhibit is identify it and then briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
Yes, this is breaking down our working interests. One thing I would like by DSU, one thing I would like to call out here, you'll notice that there's 38% in the one all the way to the left and 16 through 33. These numbers are pre-transaction working interests. So that is something I'd like to clarify, that our working interest will be higher, but this is breaking down the working interest of 75% in 18 through 31, 75.8 and 17 through 32, and then 38 through 16 to 33.
Okay, and then Exhibit 4.
This is just the overlapping DSUs showing the combined working interest that for section line wells in between the most inner DSU. And so no section line wells on the exterior, but just in between our own operated DSUs.
Okay, excuse me for interrupting.
No, you're fine.
Okay, and then in those situations which you pointed out on your Exhibit 3, there's one 2560, 1 4-miler where at least you depict having not a majority interest. Will you have communications with other working interest owners if you don't have a majority interest as to who should be the operator?
Yes, that's actually already written in an agreement with the other parties and is part of this transaction that is closing and coincides with the spacing to the north from last month.
Okay, great. That's all the questions I have for this witness, Mr. Examiner.
Any questions from staff?
Donald, if I'm not mistaken, this was Formentary initially established the stand-up 1920s in at least part of this township. Is that right?
That's correct. So if you would go to Exhibit 2, I can tell you essentially which DSUs are ours that are remaining at 3 miles due to ongoing development. The 4 to the east, 1 does cross the township line to the south. And then where we're doing these 4-mile DSUs, we previously had 2 3-mile DSUs stacked on top of each other. That's correct.
And then the other cases, or the other, yeah, it looks like there were multiple cases to the north of you. Were those Formentary or whose applications were those?
They were historically Formentary, the 3-mile were, as part of a transaction that we worked with another operator that was heard last month, where they will operate 4-mile DSUs with the north 2 sections of 16294 into the southern 2 sections in 16394. Yep. And we were all in agreement and have worked through that transaction. essentially to improve economics with 4 miles and lower surface disturbance, and trying to bring 4 miles to this area.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, Council, call your next witness.
Walker, would you state your full name for the record, please?
William Walker Ligon.
Mr. Ligon, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Walker, by whom are you employed?
Formentera Operations.
In what capacity?
I am a geologist for our North Dakota asset.
And in that capacity, you've testified before the commission previously?
Yes.
Had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes.
Offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
Walker, let's turn to the next exhibit in the packet. It's been previously marked as Exhibit 5. What I'd like you to do is identify Exhibit 5 and then briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
Sure. Exhibit 5 is a geologic structure map showing the top Middle Bakken Formation, the contours that are 100 feet contours showing subsea TVD, showing a deepening from the shallow portion in the warm colors, the red colors in the northeast, to the blue colors in the southwest, and our interested DSUs outlined in the white, with the type log being shown on the Holt 621 and where it is within those DSUs.
Okay, and Exhibit 6?
Exhibit 6 shows this type log that I mentioned on the past exhibit, the Holt 621. And this is showing our targeted reservoirs. So that's going to be the Middle Bakken Formation, which is showing a 60-foot thickness, and then as well as the Upper Three Forks Formation, which is showing a 20-foot thickness.
No further questions.
Any questions from staff? All right, seeing none, you may call your last witness.
Okay. Kim, would you state your full name for the record, please?
Kimberly Lava.
Is it, I'm sorry, pronunciation, is that Lava?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Lava, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Kim, by whom are you employed?
Formentera Operations.
In what capacity?
Reservoir engineer for North Dakota assets.
And in that capacity, you've testified before the commission previously?
Yes.
Had your qualifications accepted as that of an expert?
Yes.
Offer the further testimony of this witness that of an expert.
Motion's granted.
Kim, let's turn to the next exhibit in the packet, previously marked Exhibit 7. Identify that exhibit and briefly discuss what's contained upon it.
Sure. Exhibit 7 shows a map to the right, which shows the DSUs previously mentioned by Donald, where we have 3 4-mile DSUs that overlap, 3 at 2560 and 2 at 5120. Each of these DSUs would contain no more than 6 wells apiece, and then 2 section lines within the area, which would be over in our overlapping operated acreage. What this map shows is that we would have no more than 6 wells per DSU, which alternate in formation target that Walker mentioned, Three Forks and Middle Bakken. And we would have the appropriate 150-foot setbacks for both landing and bottom hole location.
Okay, then let's
with paths to the north. So the wells would be drilled north to south.
Okay, excuse me for interrupting.
Sorry.
Exhibit 8.
Exhibit 8 shows our proposed wellbore diagram, and this uses a nearby wellbore as a reference point, the LAR-1, which was a more recently drilled well in the general area. It shows each of our casing points, surface casing, liner, hanger, intermediate, and finally TVD and ND. Our MD would be around 29,500, showing that this is a 4-mile lateral. And then for completions, we anticipate to fracture and with plug and perf style between 95 and 120 stages.
All right, and then let's go to the next exhibit, Exhibit 9.
Exhibit 9 shows the average Middle Bakken reservoir properties noted in this area, provided by both geology and engineering, showing the oil in place and our anticipated recovery factor with the noted EURs, with economics also shown on the right. These wells do show a very good increase in break-even prices with the longer lateral lengths, and also, as Donald mentioned, less surface disturbance.
Okay, and Exhibit 10.
Exhibit 10 shows the same thing, but for reference to the Three Forks formation rather than the Middle Bakken. From a production standpoint, the only difference we see in this area right now between Middle Bakken and Three Forks wells is the gas-oil ratio, where we believe the Three Forks will have a higher gas than the Middle Bakken, and the economics remain very similar in both cases.
Okay, and then exhibit, I believe it has an exhibit number on here, the affidavit. Can't see it. Can you see that exhibit number? Well, let's just number at the last number, which we were on 10. The affidavit, let's mark that as Exhibit 11. Is that a gas capture affidavit that the commission typically requires in these sorts of matters?
Yes.
In your opinion, will the requested relief prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
No further questions, Mr. Examiner. Offer the exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted into the record. Any questions from staff?
Using Exhibit 7, are you planning to have a rig on each pad simultaneously, or batch drilling all the wells within the 2560s, or are you going to work from the west and or east and work your way through all the wells? Can you kind of give me your development plan?
Sure. As it stands right now, our development plan is to capture these leases. So we intend to drill the wells in small batches so that we don't overwhelm our water takeaway system all at once. We plan to capture these leaseholds and then come in and drill additional on top.
Which one are you starting on first, I guess?
The center units.
Okay. And the lease line wells, are they going to be drilled on the section line or offset?
Right on the section line as it is planned right now.
And what's your anticipated spud date?
The earliest spud date, I believe, is June next year, June 27.
Yeah, thank you.
Or sooner. Yeah.
So Kim, on Exhibit 7, it looks like we're going to have a Middle Bakken well, lease line well on the west lease line, and a first bench Three Forks well on the east side.
Yeah, that's what it looks like in this plan. However, we do potentially modify spacing as we have new learnings in the field. So this would be the maximum amount of wells that we would put in this development, but may not reflect what we would end up doing based on learnings in the field and spacing adjustments.
Okay. But what you're depicting here is what I said, correct?
Yes.
And which pad will the western well be drilled from?
The westernmost well?
The western lease line well.
Western lease line well, the center pad.
And the eastern lease line?
The eastern pad.
Okay. On your exhibits 9 and 10, What are you trying to reflect with the number of wells there? Is this for the infill development or what? Excuse me. Why depicting 3 wells when we're looking at 1 lease line well?
That's a good question. So it would reflect three Forks wells and 3 Middle Bakken wells within the 1 section unit times 4. So it would depict the entire DSU, 3 Middle Bakken wells, and 3 Three Forks wells.
The number of wells is not. I mean, there's nothing in these economics based on the 3 wells, is there?
No, that's just showing the recovery factor.
These are single well economics.
Correct. On the right, yes. And I can make that more clear in future diagrams.
Yeah, that's fine. Be appreciated. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, that will conclude the hearing for case number 32789. Next case on the docket is case number 32697. Case number 32697 is a continued case. It's an application of Formentera Operations LLC for an order amending the field rules for the Larson Bakken Pool in Burke County, North Dakota, to create and establish an overlapping 3840 acre spacing unit comprised of sections 11, 12, 13, 14, 23, and 24 in Township 162 North, Range 94 West, authorizing the drilling of a horizontal well on or near the section line between existing spacing units on said proposed overlapping 3840 acre spacing unit and or such further relief. Council?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Lawrence Bender, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this matter, case 32697, on behalf of Formentera Operations LLC. We're going to have 3 witnesses in this matter, same 3 witnesses in this case as we had in the previous case.
All right, your witnesses are continue to be under oath. You may proceed.
Okay, Donald, let's turn your attention to case 32697, exhibits. Skip the cover page and the overview. Go to Exhibit 1 and very briefly discuss what's contained on Exhibit 1.
Yes, this is this township view of the shaded area that the was read out regarding the overlapping 1920 to 3840 spacing unit on Exhibit 1.
Okay, and Exhibit 2?
Exhibit 2 is the same look that we had seen in the previous case, but essentially showing those same lands that are were requesting the overlapping 1920s to 3840s with the existing spacing. Just to draw back to what we were discussing, this area is remaining as a 3 mile, not being updated to 4, primarily due to ongoing activity and also existing pad locations from wells that were already drilled to the south. So it was a little mixed bag of 4 versus 3 miles and where we were in operations. Just giving some color to the commission on that. But this is just showing that we have 2 1920s already spaced and we're asking for the section line well.
Okay. Exhibit 3?
Showing a breakdown of our working interest for the section line well, overlapping 3840. Again, this is, I want to stress that this is pre-transaction working interest numbers, and we will have a significantly higher, but we're working with all other operators or all other leasehold owners within this unit.
No further questions.
Any questions from staff? Seeing none, you may call your next witness.
Let me see here. Walker, you still there?
Yes.
Okay, let's turn to Exhibit 4. Can you tell us what that is?
Sure. Exhibit 4 shows a structure map of the top of the Middle Bakken Formation, showing a deepening to the southwest, shallow with the red colors, deeper with the cooler blue colors. And then outlined in white is our interested DSUs, and then also showing the location of our type log, Holt 621.
Okay. Exhibit 5.
Exhibit 5 shows our type log, the Holt 621, and then also our interested targeted intervals, which would be the Middle Bakken Formation, which shows a thickness of 60 feet, and the Upper Three Forks Formation, which shows a thickness of 20 feet.
No further questions.
Any questions from staff? Seeing none, you may call your next witness.
Okay, Kim, Exhibit 6.
Sure. This shows a map of the two overlapping 3480s with the section line well denoted in the green dotted line. So this is our current development plan with the setbacks included. And I do have that lease line well being a Middle Bakken well proposed. Drilling from a pad to the south, which is actually not depicted here. We are drilling just to the east of the A.V. Iverson well, which is that existing dual lateral well, which landed in the Three Forks and Middle Bakken, but is being producing from the Three Forks formation. So these wells are being drilled as Middle Bakken currently as our plan stands from south to north.
Okay, excuse me. Exhibit 7.
Exhibit 7 shows, again, the LAR well used as reference, and I actually denoted that these are going to be 3-mile wells and not 4-mile wells, so that total depth on the MD is actually incorrect, which I can update after this meeting, but the total depth should be more like 25,000 feet on the MD rather than the 29.5 that's depicted there. In these wells, we do plan for 15,000 foot or 3-mile laterals, which will be fractured using plug and perf between 80 and 90 stages.
And then Exhibit 8.
Exhibit 8 shows, again, the Middle Bakken reservoir characteristics seen in this area and the single well economics on the right. Again, we do plan to drill this as a Middle Bakken well. However, I do show the Three Forks as an alternative case if we decide to move this to a Three Forks well. This gives the properties of the Three Forks along with the single well economics. Again, the only difference between the two right now is the GOR, where we anticipate a bit higher gas in the Three Forks versus the Middle Bakken.
Exhibit 9.
That was Exhibit 9,
Oh,
right? Sorry, the Three
that was
Forks.
8. I apologize. And then
No worries.
the next, we'll like the next exhibit to be marked as Exhibit 10. Is that a gas capture affidavit that the commission typically requires in these sorts of matters?
Yes.
In your opinion, will the requested relief prevent waste, protect railroad rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
No further questions. Offer the exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted into the record. Any questions from staff? All right, hearing none. That will conclude the hearing for case number 32697.
Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you to the commission. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
All right, next case on the docket is case number 32817. This case was redocketed. It was heard on March 26, 2026. Case number 32817, in the matter of a hearing called in a motion of the commission to consider the application of Continental Resources Incorporated for an order authorizing the conversion of the Roadrunner 6-15H well, file number 40480, located in a spacing unit comprised of sections 3, 10, 15, and 22 in Township 145 North, Range 95 West in Dunn County, North Dakota, for the temporary injection of gas and other fluids in the Murphy Creek Bakken Pool pursuant to NDAC Chapter 430205 and such other relief as is appropriate. Counsel?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Lawrence Bender, appearing in case 32817 on behalf of Continental Resources, Inc. This matter was heard before the Commission, I believe it was last month, as case 32689. My understanding there was an advertising problem, so we respectfully request that the record that was created in case 32689 be incorporated into this matter, case 32817.
All right, your request will be granted.
Thank you.
Anything else in this case?
Nothing further from me.
All right, that'll conclude the hearing for case number 32817. Next case on the docket is case number 32818. This is redocketed. It was heard on March 26, 2026. Case number 32818, in the matter of a hearing called in motion of the Commission to consider the application of Continental Resources Incorporated for an order authorizing the conversion of the Roadrunner 7-815H well, file number 40481, located in a spacing unit comprised of sections 3, 10, 15, and 22 in Township 145 North, Range 95 West in Dunn County, North Dakota, for the temporary injection of gas and other fluids in the Murphy Creek Bakken Pool pursuant to NDAC Chapter 430205 and such other relief as is appropriate. Counsel?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Lawrence Bender, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in case 32818 on behalf of Continental Resources, Inc. As with the previous case, there was an advertising problem with a companion case. In this was 32690, and we'd respectfully request that the record that was created in case 32690 be incorporated into this matter, case 32818.
All right, your request will be granted. Unless there's anything else, we'll close the record on that in this case. So that will conclude the hearing for case number 32818. Next case on the docket is case number 32819. This was redocketed and it was heard on March 26, 2026. Case number 32819 is in the matter of a hearing called at a motion of the Commission to consider the application of Continental Resources Incorporated for an order authorizing the conversion of the Clover 4-10H well, file number 40476, located in a spacing unit comprised of sections 3, 10, 15, and 22 in Township 145 North, Range 95 West in Dunn County, North Dakota, for the temporary injection of gas and other fluids in the Murphy Creek Bakken Pool pursuant to NDAC Chapter 430205 and such other relief as appropriate. Counsel?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Lawrence Bender, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in case 32819 on behalf of Continental Resources, Inc. Because of the advertising problem, this matter was redocketed, but a record was made in case 32691 that we would request be incorporated into this case, 32819.
All right, your request will be granted, and that will conclude the hearing for case number 32819. Next case on the docket is case number 32820. This case was redocketed. It was heard on March 26, 2026. Case number 32820 is in the matter of a hearing called at a motion of the Commission to consider the application of Continental Resources Incorporated for an order authorizing the conversion of a Clover 5-10H well, file number 40477, located in a spacing unit comprised of sections 3, 10, 15, and 22 in Township 145 North, Range 95 West in Dunn County, North Dakota, for the temporary injection of gas and other fluids in the Murphy Creek Bakken Pool pursuant to NDAC Chapter 430205 and such other relief as is appropriate. Counsel?
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Lawrence Bender, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in case 32820 on behalf of Continental Resources, Inc. At this time, we respectfully request that the record that was created in case number 32692 be incorporated into this case, 32820, as a result of an advertising problem in that previous case, 32692.
Your request will be granted, and that should conclude the hearing for case number 32820. That being the last case on the docket, that will conclude the hearings for today, and we'll close the record.
Thank you.